Declaration of War 6. The greasy fatso laments on the face. If only this demon is a woman, I would love to take this one into my harem. You demons are getting more and more courageous lately, daring to come make trouble on my territory? Wei Xingping starts rolling his fat greasy self towards Ditsong as he says that. But I can make a deal with you. If you lose, then you must surrender and submit to me. If I lose, then I will marry my daughter to you. How about that? Ha 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 ha. However, unlike the boisterous laugh of the fat greaseball who's lost in his own humor, Ditsong's expression had become more and more dark. This is a great deal for you. My daughter is peerless in both beauty and talent. Giving you a chance to marry her is your greatest gift. Of course, that's only if you can defeat me. That was the last straw for Ditsong, flashing a cold murderous glint in those eyes. This great demon king didn't even want to spend a single word answering this clown that's flaunting in front of himself. It's as if the very act was a humiliation in itself. So, he directly attacked. Boom. In an instant, the mountainous aura shot out by Ditsong's body completely overwhelms the greasy fatso. The poor guy didn't even know what happened when he got sent flying and crashed into a nearby wall. If it wasn't for the extreme pain along the front, he might have just kept staring out shock. How can this be? Didn't the strongest of those in the demon realm get exterminated thousands of years ago? How can there be such a strong demon here right now? Wei Xingping wanted to climb back up after realizing the extreme danger he's in, however. It's too late because that dashing figure was already in front of his face. Perhaps the air coming out of Ditsong was just too frightening. But the fat greaseball didn't dare to move an inch anymore. It finally dawned on him why the guard would spout those words earlier. It's not them exaggerating. It's he himself underestimating the foe. With another loud bang, Ditsong's foot stomps down at the person's chest, causing his body to make a huge human-shaped dent on the ground. Who are you? Wei Xingping shakily asks. Resistance? Forget about that. He's lost all will to fight at this point. Aside from the blood leaking from the corner of his mouth, this greasy fatso didn't want to do anything else aside from saving his own hide. Sneering, Ditsong shows a sly smirk. Those who are here to rob you. The demons who came with the man were all showing dumbfounded faces with dark lines running across them. To rob you? In other words, what difference are we from bandits? Although our current behavior is the same as bandits, but still. The greasy fatso struggles to speak as blood came pouring out of his mouth. Please. I will give you anything you want. Please don't kill me. I don't want to die. Finally releasing his leg from the man's chest, Ditsong pulls the human out from the dented ground and stabbed his sword right into Wei Xingping's left eye. There's no need to act because the pain from losing his eye was excruciating. Now all that remains in the right eye were that of fear and horror. This man, he's not a demon, he's a monster. Declaration of War 7. If you look at me again, then I will poke your other eye out and turn you into a blind man. Ditsong's intimidating existence felt like he could kill from mere words alone. Furthermore, if you say another word, then I will slice off your tongue. Wei Xingping trembled profusely at the threat. Keeping his head low, he's too afraid to bring the threat to test with his own life. I will wait here, go bring your treasures over. Releasing the captive in his hand, Ditsong wasn't worried at all about the person trying to escape, because all these people are already rats in a cage. There's no escape. Shuddering hard at the command, Wei Xingping didn't dare to delay, and rushed for the treasury vault, like a second of slowness would warrant his own beheading. Go gather everyone that's left on this ancient battlefield. Capture those who doesn't resist and slay those who rebel. Ditsong then turns to his subordinates to give this order. Yes, sire. Unlike the happy laughter and dancing from before, this manor has now become a very different place altogether. It's filled with a tense air of unease that's making the dancers and songstresses all curl up around the corner in shivering fear. Then again, it did make sense as to why the females here were so scared of Ditsong and his men. What is that? A few words, and you would poke another's eye out. That's downright barbaric. Back over at Wei Xingping's side, the greasy slime ball was currently rummaging through his prized possessions like instructed. It pains him to lose everything of value, but it's far better than losing his own life. What sort of bad luck is this? It's been so quiet around this place for so long. How did such a demon suddenly come barging in here? Right as the man had finished packing away the stuff he spent so many years gathering into his personal storage ring, a loud feministic cry suddenly boomed out from the rear and made him jerk. Father! This lady was like a shining example of what it means to inherit a parent's gene pool. She's extremely chubby and literally shook the ground whenever she walked. But more importantly, it's that eyebrow which she inherited from her old man that gave her lineage away. It's a straight line like a single brow. Aside from the white skin, there's hardly anything worthy of note that could be called beautiful. Aya, my sweet daughter, why did you come out? Hurrying to pull at his daughter's arm so she would go back. You need to find a place to hide until those people leave. I can't afford to let those savages get any funny ideas once they get a look at your beauty. If Ditsong and those demons that came with him were to hear the Wei Shengping's comment there, then they would surely throw everything out from their stomach right then and there. If such a woman could be called beautiful, then there wouldn't be an ugly woman in this world. However, due to Wei Qingqing never having left this ancient battlefield, plus her father's men were always complimenting about her face, this lady has now become delusional to the lies of being the number one beauty of this ancient battlefield. As a result, confidence in her own face wasn't an issue. You can't go back on your words. Twisting her hair in a shy manner, Wei Qingqing mutters under her breath like she's too embarrassed to look up. She's never seen a man look so good. Naturally, this lady wouldn't want to miss out on being Ditsong's wife. Now this time Wei Xingping didn't know what to do anymore. He's stiff as a rock, because that remark about marrying his daughter was nothing more than a joke. It wasn't real. Furthermore, he's not stupid enough to believe his own daughter was a real beauty. He's only saying that to not hurt his precious girl's heart. Declaration of War 8. Qing, that guy is not your fated man. He is too cruel and ruthless, but most importantly he's a demon, said the greaseball with exasperation in his voice. Making a humping sound with her voice, Wei Qingqing clearly didn't think so. He beat you as soon as you mentioned me. I'm sure it's because of my fame as the number one beauty here in this ancient battlefield. He specifically came to marry me. Qing, he cries out in a panic. Although he has a lot of concubines to service himself, but he only has this one daughter. That's why he doesn't want her to go die in vain. Father, are you planning to send him one of your concubines instead of me? Is that what you are planning? It has to be mentioned, Wei Xingping does have such an idea in mind. All those wives of his were beautiful to most out there. If he could use one to win the favor of such a powerful demon, then why not? His lost eye could easily be recovered with a Dan pill. So the former grudge doesn't mean much if he could get such powerful backing. That man's strength is so strong. Do you think your little concubines are going to be able to endure at night? Only with my body can I bear his manliness. Not to mention I am the number one beauty in this ancient battlefield. Which part of me is not worthy of him? Wei Qingqing waves her own hand up into the air, like the act would showcase the strength in her arms. However, no reaction ever came from her old man, which causes her to start shaking the poor guy's shoulder instead. I don't care, father. I'm going to marry that handsome guy. I must marry him. But what if he already has a wife? That's even simpler. All men have multiple wives. I only need him to demote his current one to a concubine and make me the main wife. Cocking her chin up like an egotistic peacock, Wei Qingqing proudly and generously states this like it's a given. The idea didn't sound so bad to the greasy fatso at all actually. He has so many wives in his harem already. Losing a couple to satisfy that demon wouldn't hurt if he uses them as an offering. With so many gifts, he's sure Ditsong wouldn't mind taking his daughter afterwards as a thank you. Yes, that will do. He will surely accept Qing. Once I give him so many good things at once. What man doesn't like wealth and beauties? Wei Manor. In this gathering hall, Ditsong props against the main seating chair with a bored expression, as he gazed down at the group of unimportant flies huddling together for protection. However, his focus quickly changed as soon as his senses picked up a familiar aura from the outside. Didn't I say you don't need to come out tonight? Why are you here? He asks after rushing out the door. Under the darkness of this night, The woman's eye-catching dress of red were hypnotically mesmerizing when matched with the owner's peerless contour. It's breathtaking just seeing this level of perfection. Majesty, I wanted to stop Her Highness, but your orders are to put the Queen's command above all else. I didn't have any other option but to follow. Reporting this was First Elder, who also tagged along from behind. He's making a wry expression like someone that's both troubled and blaming, because this really wasn't his fault. Bai Yin chuckled at the elder's swift explanation. Don't blame him. I was the one who wanted to come out. I couldn't feel at ease, that's why I came. Since his wife was already getting on the defensive, then, he had no reason to press the issue. Holding Bai Yan's hand in a careful and gentle manner, he leads her away for the main chair to sit in. Just sit here and rest, Yin Yin. I will handle everything. You don't need to do anything. Bai Yin nodded and didn't object to the request. They're already at the edge of the celestial realm, a place where there are numerous powerful beings. Regardless of how she thinks, worrying has become an undeniable fact of life for her at this point. Only by being by her husband's side would this wife be at ease. Exactly right when she's about to take a seat like suggested. Wei Xingping has returned from the treasury vault, and behind him was the huge thick walking ball that was Wei Qingqing. Declaration of War, 9. Wei Qingqing only needed a glance at the woman sitting beside Ditsong to become enraged. Stomping that feet, she screams. Father, that woman over there. Which number of your concubines is she? Also, why is she sitting on my seat? That is my seat. Tell her to crawl over here to me. For a moment, everyone's attention was now firmly plastered on the ugly fat woman. This includes Bai Yen with her narrowed eyes and Ditsong's gloomy face, that's about to go murder this bitch. When did my queen become your concubine? The Demon King's voice sounded like it came from the depths of hell, strangling and choking everyone inside the hall. Stuttering to speak, the fat greaseball hurries to correct his own daughter. Qing, you mustn't misunderstand. This is not my concubine. Quickly go admit your mistake. Admit my mistake? Why should I do that? Locking onto Ditsong with her love-struck eyes. Wei Qingqing apparently didn't have the brain to process anything at this point aside from ogling the man of her dream. Didn't you come here to marry me? The number one beauty on this ancient battlefield? What's the deal with that woman? Due to being so spoiled by her family, and the lack of interaction with those from the outside, Wei Qingqing continues to believe she's the main reason for all this fuss. Really, doesn't he know how to show some sincerity? Why would he bring another woman with him if he wants to marry me? But Ditsong was done listening to the nonsense of this bitch at this point. Before another word could come forward from that foul mouth, the cup in his hand had already shot out and smashed into Wei Qingqing's forehead, causing the girl to start bleeding profusely from the wound. Why is he attacking me? Why is this man hurting me? Shocked beyond belief, the fat bitch didn't know what to make of this, and just stood there with wide eyes. Outrageous. First Elder finally snaps after watching this nonsensical show. Who do you think you are to speak about our queen in this manner? Also, how dare you have thoughts about our king with your ugly appearance? Queen, plopping to the ground, Wei Xingping nervously looks upward at the two with great fear in his voice. You are from the demon realm? And the king and queen at that? Yes, apart from the demon realm's rulers, who else can defeat me so easily? This time I'm really screwed. Ignoring her old man's blatant display of submission, Wei Qingqing instead grew mad from being called out as ugly. I am the number one beauty on this ancient battlefield. How dare you say I'm ugly? Only someone like I can withstand his strength in bed. Furthermore, look at that woman. She's so weak-looking that I bet the child in her stomach won't even make it out alive. At first Bai Yin could care less about this clown that's flaunting in front of herself, but bringing her unborn child into the conversation was another matter. In a flick of her hand, the teacup in her possession also flies out like Ditsong's and smashes directly into the girl's face. How dare you jinx my child? She slams the table and exudes a menacing aura of murder. For the demons that came with the lady, especially First Elder, they're all horrified by what they've just heard. It's no secret their king cared deeply for his wife, and the children was the big sore spot for the queen here. Hurrying to get up to soothe Bai Yan's mood with a rub on the shoulder, Yin Yen, let me handle this matter. You mustn't stress yourself from being so angry. It's not worth it for someone like that. Declaration of War 10. This Wei Qingqing's previous behavior has already challenged his bottom line earlier. If not for his attention being divided by deciding on what sort of punishment to use, Ditsong would have long smashed that face up to stop her from getting any closer. First Elder dragged this woman away. Ditsong's gaze gradually fell upon his target, those eyes no longer showing the warmth he made to his wife earlier. Let her experience what it means to have 1,000 knives got through her body. If I find that she's still alive after being bled dry, then you will all be held accountable. Stumbling backwards in shock. Didn't you come here to marry me? Why are you doing this to me? No, I don't want to die. Father, save me. Idiot. First Elder snorts derisively. You are dirt in comparison to our queen. How dare you say the king is here to marry you? Where do you even get such confidence to think such a thing? No, I didn't lie. He clearly admitted it when he bested my father. They made a deal to offer me as the bride if he wins, and he never vetoed the idea. If that's not agreeing, then what else? Seeing the two demons drawing increasingly closer to herself, the fat bitch grew more and more flustered as she backed off. That's because he's not qualified to have me respond to him. Ditsong's answer was like a slap across the face for the foolish bitch. How did this happen? Her eyes have changed from the initial panic to despair at this point. And even as she was being dragged away, she never once stopped staring up at the handsome demon king. Wait! Bai Yan's sudden call made the two demons stop. What's the matter, Yin Yan? Ditsong hurries to ask with concern in his voice. Taking in a deep breath, Bai Yan looked like she's suppressing some sort of fire in her chest. If you do that, then she will die from the pain first. As a result of that remark, Wei Qingqing's despairing eyes were once again alit with hope. Can it be? This woman is going to let me go? Or is she going to let me have a quick ending? Not bothering to look at the fat bitch, Bai Yan instead turns to First Elder as she continued. I have here some medicine. It can make her unable to die from the extreme pain of having 1,000 knives stabbed into her body, nor can she faint during the process. Take it and put it to good use. And this is the price of jinxing my child. Wei Qingqing's eyes once again grew dim and started to struggle. Father, help me. You vicious woman, you. Too afraid to let any more curses to come out of that mouth, the two demons hurried to draw their swords and slashed down. Immediately, a huge chunk of flesh came flying off of the fat bitch's arm. Ah! Wei Qingqing screamed out in agonizing pain. Whatever curses she had in mind evaporated on the spot, because it's too intense for her senses. Throughout the entire exchange, the girl's father Wei Xingping never once stepped in or pleaded for mercy. Sure, the fat bitch may be his own child, but when it comes to shove, you never know what one might do in the end. Where's the treasure? Ditsong's voice once again rang out after the screaming stopped, his gaze looming over the fat greaseball's existence. Bandit Ditsong 1. Frantically rummaging through himself for the storage ring. Wei Xingping then carefully presents it before Ditsong's face, to show he's not trying anything funny. The treasures are here. Here, Yin Yan. Tossing it to his wife without any care for the ring. See if you like anything in there. If you find nothing you like, then I'll just finish these people off first, before looking elsewhere to rob. Wei Xingping could start peeing himself at this point after that comment. He's dreadfully afraid he would lose his head the next second if he moved. If I had known this ancient battlefield is so dangerous, then I never would have come here to guard this place. Rubbing her chin after scanning the content with her senses, Bai Yan spoke with a pleased smile. I will take some of the herbs inside. They're what I need to refine some more godhood Dan pill. As for the others, I don't need them. Pricking his brow like he's not amused by what he's heard, Ditsong promptly turned back to the fat greaseball. Are you hiding anything else? Pale as a ghost at the added attention. Of course not. Absolutely not. This is already everything I have in my home. Then, all right, out of consideration for the herbs you've presented, I will leave your body intact. Ditsong spoke with a sinister smirk, and causes the other person to collapse entirely to the floor. The poor greaseball didn't expect he would still be killed after he handed everything over. However, That frightened mindset of his did have a brain because his attention swiftly turned to the concubines huddling in the corner of the room. Grabbing several of the dancers and songstresses, he pulls them to Deetsong's location. "Oh great king of the demons, please let me go. If you do, these beauties are all yours." Hurrying to push one of the dancers beside himself to go forward. "What are you all waiting for? Quickly go serve this great one." As frightened as the lady was based on that shivering appearance, she nevertheless plucked up her courage and walked towards Deetsong. However, scram! Before she could even get in front of the man, Deetsong's aura had exploded outwards and sent the lady flying and crashing into the nearest wall. Blood came pouring out of that mouth, and dyeing the woman red from the chest down. "I had wanted to give you an intact body once you die, but it seems you don't want that opportunity anymore." Dumbfounded, the slimy greaseball hurries to speak. "Is this one not to your liking? No problem. It doesn't matter. I can find any beauty that is to your liking. As long as you let me live, then anything is fine." That pleading cry only made Bai Yin shake her head. She's absolutely baffled by how clueless this person was, and how he could be so oblivious to his own mistake. "No wonder your daughter is so stupid. It's due to your influence." First Elder chimes in with a sarcastic tone. "His Majesty is angry because you keep trying to send those women to his side, yet you are still blind to the fact. How stupid can you be? No wonder you were sent here to guard the ancient battlefield." Wei Xingping just gawked his jaws there. He didn't think there would be a man who doesn't like beautiful women, and to refuse one at that? Not wanting to spend any more time with the fool, Deetsong returns his attention to his wife, giving her a hug to not give anyone other ideas. "Yin Yin, don't be angry. I will cheer you up, okay?" Breaking out into a giggling laughter. "Where do you see that I'm angry? If he wants to send women to you as his business, you just need to not accept it. Not to mention if you did dare to accept it, I will kill one if there's one, kill two if there's two, and kill dozens if there's dozens. Oh Yin Yin, there's no need for you to dirty your own hands. Your husband I will personally deal with these people. You just sit there and stay put." Bandit Deetsong too. Deetsong curses inwardly at the bastard that wants to incriminate himself. This Wei Xingping really doesn't like to live. Thank goodness Yin Yin didn't misunderstand me. Otherwise I will make sure his fate is the same as his daughter. How can this be? Muttering to himself in an incoherent manner, the fat greaseball still doesn't believe what he's seeing in front of himself. A man having multiple wives is normal in this world. Even my own daughter, who is so proud, is willing to accept that fact. Why can this single woman up there monopolize someone so powerful to herself, and not be reprimanded? Wei Xingping, I will let you die with a clear answer, so you don't go wondering what you did wrong after you become a ghost. First Elder couldn't resist mocking the fool. Foxes are naturally charming and seductive by nature. That's a racial feature. Now look at the females beside yourself. What makes you think they can even compare to the fox race, when the king can have so many better, if he so much as said a word? In His Majesty's eye, he only has the queen and no one else. So tell me, what makes you think sending other women to his side is a good idea? In fact, do you think he needs you to do that? You must be real stupid in the head to say something like that in front of the queen. The more he spoke, the colder the senior's expression became. Drag him away as well. Deetsong throws out this command to his nearby subordinate. His punishment will be dismemberment. Yes, sire. First Elder complies by arching his fist, and immediately looked to signal his men beneath. No. In his urgency, Wei Xingping forcefully breaks free from the arms of those dragging him away, and sped away for the exit. However, before he could even take a single step outside, an old figure had already blocked his path. Want to leave? With a cold snarl, First Elder roars out a punch at the person, and sent him flying across the hall, thus allowing the two demons to do their work of dragging the sack of meat away. Sire, what do you wish to do with the rest of these people here? The senior asks with indifference, like he could care less for the lives of these individuals. Those above the celestial rank can stay if they are willing to submit. Otherwise you can kill them on the spot if they resist. As soon as the last bit came out, the hall was immediately shrouded in an air of murderous intent. causing many of the weaker ones to choke and gasp for air. Done with his order, Song then returns to his wife that's sitting on the main seat, wrapping his hand around her waist in a hug. Yin, it's getting late, why don't we go back and rest? Okay. Bai Yin nodded and smiled at the nice suggestion. She's indeed getting a bit tired. Right as the couple's about to leave, the Demon King didn't forget to throw out one last command. Go locate all the spots with the richest cluster of herbs in this ancient battlefield. I want to give them to my wife. As you wish, sire. Left to carry out his business, First Elder wasted no time in sorting through the kneeling females in this room. However, when he saw the level these dancers and songstresses held, his face immediately turned into a frown. What to do with these people? They're obvious not of standard. He mutters to himself. My lord, please spare our lives. We were all kidnapped here by Wei Xingping and forced to follow him. Please let us go. We promise we won't ever appear before your eyes. Despite the tear-stricken faces of these beautiful ladies that could sway most men out there, First Elder's expression never wavered in the slightest. He's stern and hard, intent on carrying out his command to the teeth. Bandit Song 3. However, not everyone was made of stone. This includes the First Elder who's been living for over 1,000 years. When his eyes fell upon the shivering ladies who's clearly helpless before his might, he sighed and relented, knowing he's going to be disobeying the king's order. Tell me, how am I supposed to know there's no ulterior motives inside your hearts? He asked with a much softer but still harsh tone. One of the braver girls once spoke with pursed lips. We don't know, but we will do anything you ask of us. Fine then, I will carve a part of my powers into your soul. This allows me to control your actions during any moment that I wish. If you agree to this, then I will let you girls leave, otherwise you know what happens. The girls looked startled, but nevertheless didn't resist. They just hung their heads there before looking up at the elder. We are willing. To be in control by another is still better than losing our lives here today. Since it has come to this, First Elder didn't say more. Pulling forward his powers, he forcefully imprints his mark onto their soul. You can go now. Remember, nothing here is to be revealed to the outside. We understand. The girls became delighted. They didn't lie about being kidnapped here to serve the fat greaseball. Now that they are free to leave, it's natural they couldn't be happier. So, the group didn't waste any time at all before rushing out the door and disappearing from sight under the cover of darkness. Celestial Palace. Several old men were sitting in the conference room, discussing certain matters, when a guard hurriedly barged in through the main entrance. Honorable keepers, those people from the demon realm have invaded the ancient battlefield, and Wei Xingping, who is charged with its protection, has been killed. What? Keeper Ling arrogant became stunned. Jumping from the chair, he snaps with seething rage. How dare they attack the celestial realm? What do we do now, keepers? Asked the guard that's kneeling on the ground. Keeper Zun, Ashenrobe, and others turned quiet instead of arguing. We can't let this stand. That Demon King's potential is limitless. If we allow him to grow, then it will surely endanger the celestial realm. But if we leave the palace, then the Lord will become aware of it. He won't let us interfere, so it's useless even if we went. Another keeper frowned and sighed. The power of this demon realm is not to be underestimated. Even after all these years of our suppression, they are still capable of breaking through to the celestial rank. So, we must not allow this to continue. My dear keepers, allow me to handle this matter. Just then a soft voice came from the rear, and causes the seniors present in the room to turn their heads. What they saw was a woman that's as pristine as a fairy, and gave off an almost halo effect with the light coming off of her body. Ruo Shi, you are an important daughter of this world. We can't risk having anything happen to you. Keeper Zun Ashenrobe frowns as he said that. Keepers, I have been in your care for all these years. For that, I am extremely grateful. However, I believe it's time I did something for the celestial realm. As long as this world is safe, then I don't mind paying for it with my life. Showing a pained smile like she's running off to meet her end. Yin Ruoshi's appearance was difficult to find fault in there. Sure enough, the seniors here were all moved by her words. What a good girl she is. The celestial lord did not return for 1,000 years, and she is still willing to take such risks for this world. Ruoshi, you must take your amulet with you. Keeper Ling, arrogant, softens up in his voice after the earlier outburst. A certain person told us years ago that your crescent-shaped amulet is the key to saving this world in the future. You must firmly keep it on your body and never lose it. Bandit Deet Song 4. Tightly clenching the amulet around her neck. Please be assured, since I am destined to ascend to that position, then no danger will come my way. You go then. Keeper Ling relents by waving his hand. Since she has gotten what she wanted, Yun Ruoshi promptly paid her respect and bid farewell to these rulers of the celestial realm. Looking at the direction of her departure, a faint smile gradually comes out of the most arrogant of the bunch. That wretched lass at least did one thing right back then, and that is to bring Ruoshi to us. Alright, how is that crazy old coot doing? The group exchanged various looks among themselves, unsure how to answer Keeper Ling's question. In the end it was Keeper Zun Ashenrobe who sighed to break the silence. As usual, he's still as crazy as ever since Bai Lassie was destroyed by us in both soul and body. He cared for the girl the most, so it hit him the hardest. Humph! Keeper Ling huffs a snort. How dare he lose his sanity after all he's done? If it wasn't for him bringing that wretched lass to the Celestial Palace, would the Celestial Lord become like so? He definitely held a grudge against the mentioned crazy old coot for what happened in the past. Not only did the guy not support their endeavor in slaying Bai Yan's former incarnation, he also tried to stop them. Enough, let's stop talking about him and continue our cultivation, a green-robed keeper suggests to his peers while getting up to leave. Since one of them was intent on going, then the others weren't going to linger around either. Very soon, all the others were getting up to disperse as well. It's just that, right as they were out the door, the group were stopped by the mentioned crazy old man that was rushing over to their location. This individual wore similar clothes that's shaded white instead. But unlike them, this crazy old man had straws sticking out of his white hair that showed his sanity wasn't right. Bye-bye, where are you? Don't hide from Grandpa, I see you. Bumping over in an erratic fashion, the crazy old coot eventually stopped after hitting Keeper Ling on the side. Immediately, his eyes lit up. Bye-bye. I finally caught you. This time you can't hide from me. Little Bye-bye. Do you know why I named you Bye-bye? It's because you were so adorably white as a kid. That's why I named you Bye-bye. Note: Bye is the word white depending on how you use it in a sentence. That does it for Keeper Ling going from green to white. Then from white to green, the usually arrogant senior snaps and forcefully pushed the crazy old coot away. I am not your Bye-bye. Get a good look. Stumbling backwards from the shove, the poor fella that's being alienated turns into a daze like he's seeing something from the past. My Bye-bye, or my little Bye-bye. Woohoo, where is my good granddaughter? Extremely unsightly in the face now, Keeper Ling didn't want to hear anymore. Nothing but a little beggar that you picked up off the streets. How can you even think of her as your granddaughter? She's not even born of your son. Damn it. If you want to be crazy, then go do it somewhere else. It's all your fault that everything is like this now. As someone that has a screw loose in the head, the crazy old coot clearly didn't hear a single thing there. Instead of arguing, the poor fella simply ran for the exit to leave the palace in search of his missing granddaughter. I'm going to find my good granddaughter. Where are you, my good granddaughter? Trembling all over from rage at this point, Keeper Ling wanted to explode, but couldn't out of his own pride. He's the sane one here, so he's not going to stoop to the level of someone that's not right in the head. Hey, nothing will happen if we let him run off like that, right? Keeper Zun, Ashenrobe, comments from one side after seeing his former companion's deteriorated state. No matter what, they were once considered brothers, so his heart still ached for the poor fella. If he wants to find her, then let him go look. Regardless, that girl no longer exists, so even if he turns the celestial realm upside down, he will still not see her. Making a heavy flick of his sleeve, Keeper Ling did not want to spare another glance in the general direction of where the old coot went, and turned for the back mountain. Likewise, several of the other keepers also sighed and shook their heads in disappointment before turning for their own rooms. They may have chosen to side with Keeper Ling, but they also lamented the fact that the once strongest of their bunch has regressed to the level of becoming the weakest. Fate sure likes to play tricks on the living. Bandit Deed Song 5. Just as these rulers of the celestial realm were discussing on how to handle the demon realm, Deed Song and his gang of bandits had already robbed through countless cities in their path. Naturally, the treasures from their venture were handed over to Bai Yen in the aftermath. It's just that news tended to travel fast in cases like these. When Deed Song arrived at his next targeted location, the whole city had already evacuated and took with them the treasures that would have been sitting here for his taking. "Sire, what do we do now?" a guard turns to ask with a nervous voice. Dark in the face, the Demon King raises his hand and gives the order. "Continue." He doesn't believe there's nothing to gain today. The corner of the guard's mouth began to twitch at this ridiculous situation. When did the king become so bandit-like? At the same time while that was occurring, a small little head carefully sticks out from the corner of the Demon Palace gate, leading to the outside. When those eyes saw that no patrols were nearby to get in his way, he immediately beckoned the little dragoness from behind to come forward. Shhhh. Placing a finger to his lips to gesture for quietness, Bai Xiachen then tiptoes away with his sister for freedom. However, before he could even make it out of the palace grounds, a familiar scent had suddenly appeared in front of himself and blocking his path. Stiffly raising his head to confront the beautiful face, he greets her with an awkward grin. "Auntie, what a coincidence! Xiachen, where are you going with Dragoni?" Di Xiaowan pricks her brow. "Ugh." Shifting his eyes left and right in order to come up with an excuse. "Me and Dragoni are going out to play. We will be back soon." "Is that so?" said the demon princess with bemusement. "Is your little outing to go look for your parents?" Turning into a rocket being caught. When did this sweet dumbaklutz of a auntie become so clever? "Auntie." Not giving up, he tugs at the girl's arm in a pleading manner. "I miss mother a lot. Can you let me go find her? Your mother said not to let you go out. If she finds out that it was I who allowed you to leave, then she's going to be very angry once she gets back. Auntie, I know you care about me a lot, but I really do miss mother." Getting all teary in the eyes, he decides to use the best skill in his arsenal. "And, I am very strong now, I can protect mother. Auntie Princess, can you let us go?" Dragoni also decides to join in on the attack, and tugs at the other free arm with tears starting to fill her eyes. "It's not impossible for you two to go." Di Xiaowan starts showing a cunning light in her beautiful eyes then. "I can go with you, that will be fine." Bai Xiachen just stared at the girl, unable to take in what he's heard for a good moment. "But your strength, auntie." "What?" The demon princess gives a heavy knock at the boy's head to show her disgruntlement. "Are you saying my strength is low that you're afraid? Just so you know, my strength is only weak, because it's sealed away by that bastard, once it's released. But that's only if you can release the seal first." Bai Xiachen unkindly retorts his aunt's logic. Bandit Deed Song 6. "I don't care, you let me follow too or else." Di Xiaowan didn't even get to finish his sentence when her head felt a heavy force hitting it. Next thing the demon princess knew was her mind blacking out as she fainted away to the floor, waving that little fist in the air in a triumphant manner. "Come Dragoni, let's put auntie aside first before setting off." Widening her eyes in startlement, the little missy shows a concerned face at what the boy did. "But Highness, the princess is your aunt. Isn't this a bit bad in what we're doing? Auntie is not so easily fooled anymore, so I can only use violence. Otherwise we will be in big trouble if she tags along. With her strength, she will definitely encounter danger along the way." A frown surfaces as he says that. It's not like Bai Xiachen wanted to do it this way, but he has no other method aside from knocking his aunt out. The sweet dumbaklutz was too big of an unstable variable to their plan. "Come on, help me carry her inside." He lowered his body to lift the demon princess up, however. The boy quickly discovered how heavy the girl was compared to her relatively thin body shape. "Okay." Dragoni obediently ran to Bai Xiachen's side to help. When the two kids said they are bringing Di Xiaowan back inside, they didn't exactly mean carrying like in the traditional sense, because the next second later, A noticeable thud could be heard after they literally threw the girl right across the air like some sort of throwaway baggage. Run! After finishing their deed, the little steam bun hurries to grab onto the little Missy's hand to run for the outside. Who? Inside the palace, the patrolling guards had heard the commotion by this point and came running for the noise. Quick, go call second elder in them. The princess has been attacked. The supervising captain exclaims and shouts out to his subordinate. Without delay, one of the cleverer ones rushed for help and returned with the elders in question. When they saw how Di Xiaowan has been knocked unconscious, one couldn't even begin to describe how dreadfully white their faces were at this point. What are you all waiting for? Hurry and go carry the princess inside. Second elder roars out at the palace guards while his legs trembled profusely. But before the task could be carried out, Di Xiaowan's consciousness had already begun to return. Princess! Fourth elder speaks with a nervous voice. What happened? Did those from the celestial realm attack? At first the princess was still rubbing the back of her head from confusion, due to being knocked out. But that question immediately brought her back to reality. It's Xiachen who hit me. He is running off to find Bai Yan. Go stop him. What? Fourth elder shuddered from the realization of that news. Due to the intense shock, he nearly fell backwards when his legs stumbled backwards. I will go find His Highness. You bunch here take care of the princess. It only took a blink of an eye after he said that to disappear from the spot. The man didn't want to waste another second here, because he's afraid he won't catch up to the boy. Princess, how are you? The remaining elders honestly didn't expect the culprit to be Bai Xiachen himself. Now not only do they have to worry about the princess's health here, they also have to worry about their prince encountering danger, while not under their watch. Likewise, Di Xiaowan also felt guilty at being so careless. It's true she wanted to go with them, but this has gone far beyond what she wanted, and it's all her fault. In the valley not far from the palace, Bai Xiachen's ears had picked up some movement from the rear. In his haste, he pulls the little Missy into the bushes to hide. Bandit Deed Song 7. Here, eat this. He takes out a bottle and hands it to Dragoni. What is this? The little Missy asks. This is a medicine that can mask your scent and aura. I took it from Mother a while back. When I was at the Holy Land, I would often go out with Sister Yi to do bad things, so this medicine was essential for us. Unlike all the other Dan pills in his possession, Bai Xiachen could only recognize this one, because of the frequent use. After taking the pill, both kids made sure to stay still while huddling inside the bushes as they hid. Thankfully their bodies are so small, thus allowing the leaves to cover their bodies very well, and giving them ample opening to see Fourth Elder speeding right past their spot. How strange! The senior eventually came to a halt after noticing something was wrong. I clearly followed His Highness's scent. Why did it suddenly disappear after I've come this far? After a thought, he didn't hesitate and continued to chase. In Fourth Elder's mind, he only needs to continue the pursuit, and he would find the prince. Seeing the figure disappear from his view, Bai Xiachen became relieved and jumped out of the bushes. Let's go, Dragoni, he's gone now. We will take another road to avoid him. However, right as the boy's about to leave with the little Missy, he stopped again and turned around to rummage through his storage bag for some ink and pen. I need to leave a message for Fourth Elder, lest he continue to search for me. I can't have others getting into danger because of us. Finding a large tree nearby, he scribbles something along the trunk, so there's no chance for others to miss it. Okay, Dragoni, let's go. He claps his hand with satisfaction and stored the items away. Perhaps it's because of how long he's been searching and getting no result that Fourth Elder decides to turn back. Where in tarnation did His Highness go? Suddenly, his eyes widened in shock after seeing the lines of writing on the tree. Fourth Elder, help me apologize to Auntie, please. I didn't have any other way. Also, I must go find Mother, so don't look for me and Dragoni. We will return with Mother once we find her. Towards this message, Fourth Elder could only get a bittersweet flavor in his mouth. It seems that the prince must go to the queen. Even if we manage to bring him back, he will still leave again. Making a long sigh, he didn't continue his fruitless chase anymore, and turned for the palace. How did it go? Di Xiaowan was anxiously waiting at the palace gate when she saw the man's return. It's just that the initial happiness on her face had faded away when finding the elder didn't bring the kids back as she expected. You didn't find Xiaochen? The princess asks with pursed lips. Fourth elder nods slowly. His Highness was too cunning and escaped my pursuit. He left a message for you, and that he's sorry, but he will go search for the queen regardless of what we do. Freezing up in her posture. But the celestial realm is too dangerous. Bandit Ditsong 8. Princess, we have no solution to the prince's decision. Furthermore, I don't think we can bring him back even if we tried. The effects of a demon's blood lineage held a lot over those of inferior quality. If Bai Xiaochen truly doesn't want to return, he could simply use his control over these demons to order them not to interfere. Di Xiaowan knew what the fourth elder said there was very reasonable and held no lies. Nevertheless, her heart couldn't stop worrying. Xiaochen is still only a child. I can't let him go to the celestial realm alone. I must find him. That said, the demon princess then pushes the elder aside to chase after the boy herself. Princess! Fourth elder exclaims and hurried to stop this. You let me go, I must find Xiaochen you, bonk. Finding how stubborn the girl was, the poor elder did the only thing that came to his mind, and that was to knock the princess out with a karate chop. Sighing, we absolutely can't let the princess run off by herself. She's been tricked by the prince already, and she still fell for the hit by me. There's no way she will survive on her own out there. In comparison to the prince, these demons are more concerned with this sweet Dumbaklutz than anything else. What's more, it's well known by now that Bai Xiaochen had gone through the training inside the secret domain and gained immense strength in doing so. Adding that with his cunning personality, it's reasonable to assume the boy would be fine even if he's alone. Fourth elder, aren't you afraid the princess will raise a fuss after she comes to? Crossing his arms around the chest, sixth elder asks with a bemused face. Shrugging. Other than knocking her out, do you have any other plan? You know as well as I do that the princess is the type to be sold, and then go count the money for the seller. After he said that, the elder didn't dally around, and picked the girl up around the waist to carry back inside the palace. Once again, peace has returned to the demon realm for the time being after this little twist of event. Once they finished ditching their pursuers, Bai Xiaochen and Dragoni's first destination would of course be the border city. However, he was quickly disappointed when he discovered that Bai Yan had already left by the time they arrived. As such, the two kids also snuck into the celestial realm on their own after learning that. Against the new and interesting things, Dragoni have always been the curious one among the pair. Therefore, when they arrived at the closest settlement, her eyes immediately began to wander left and right at the new environment. Damn beggar! How dare you come steal from our restaurant? Someone come! Help me throw this beggar out of here. This was what Bai Xiaochen heard when he was frowning at what to do next. Turning his head around for the source, he could see several people dragging a dirty old man out of an establishment. The senior's hair appeared very messy, just like a chicken's coop, but the worst was the odor coming out of that body. It stinks. But the group apparently wasn't done after they kicked out the beggar. Instead they began to start beating the old man with their sticks to vent their anger. Oddly enough, the dirty senior didn't even flinch at the assault, and continued to gnaw away at the chicken in his hand. Clearly the food was the reason why he went inside the restaurant. This scene made the boy frown even harder. Unable to bear it, he starts walking over. Stop. Perhaps it's due to how tender and young his voice was, but the group did stop in their act after his holler. Where did this child come from? How dare you get involved with our business? A middle-aged man of the group coldly snarls at the boy. Bandit Ditsong 9. Isn't it just a chicken? I'll help pay for it, so let him go. Rummaging through his clothes, Bai Xiaochen tosses over a piece of silver to act as payment to the man. Coming before the old beggar. Are you all right, Grandpa? I'm hungry, I'm so hungry. Maybe it's due to hunger or something else entirely. But the senior didn't pay any heed to the little steambun's inquiry, and instead continued to gnaw away at the chicken. Normally one would be quite irritated at being ignored, but in this case, Bai Xiachen only felt an uncomfortable sadness circulating from within. Eat slowly, grandfather, no one will steal it from you. It's then the crazy old man paused in his gnawing and turned to look up at the boy's face. Did you see my bye-bye? I'm looking for my little bye-bye. Taken aback by the question, the boy's lovely brow furrowed up. Grandpa, who is bye-bye? If you tell me, I will help you look for that person. Bye-bye is bye-bye, she is my good granddaughter. Let me secretly tell something. I actually snatched bye-bye off of my old friend's hands. Her talent is very good, so me and my old friend both wanted to accept her as our granddaughter. In order to win, I used a sneaky scheme to snatch her over. With that said, the crazy old man then bursts into tears, and even tossed the chicken to the ground as he sobbed away. I should have given her to him. He could have taken her to a secluded place where no one can hurt her. Bye-bye must hate me to death, woohoo. To the senior's credit, his words were clear and credible, totally unlike his crazy appearance. Unfortunately, that glimmer of clarity only lasted for a brief moment, before he returned to his usual erratic state with that silly dumb smile. Have you seen bye-bye? If you see her, can you tell my bye-bye that I miss her? Against this partially unstable old man, Bai Xiachen just didn't know how to handle him. Nevertheless, his heart told him he couldn't leave this person behind. Old grandpa, get up first and tell me how your bye-bye looks. This way I can help keep an eye out for her. Boy, the middle-aged man over there had a better attitude after taking the little steambun's money, but that changed again into a sneer after hearing the old man's words. Don't blame me for not warning you. This old beggar is a liar. He's been here for a few days already, and has done nothing but freeload off others. Don't be fooled by him. Naturally, Bai Xiachen wouldn't be swayed by a simple comment from some stranger, especially when they have shown such harshness against an old senior. Still showing concerned eyes, he helps the crazy old coot up. My bye-bye is all pearly and white. Oh yes, she's also extremely talented and... Patting his chicken coop of a hair, the old man's gaze suddenly turned dull in the eye like he's lost in memory. I can't remember anymore. I think bye-bye has been gone for a long time. Highness. Giving the boy a gentle tug on the sleeve, Dragoni offers up a suggestion. Why don't we bring him to mother for help? This old grandpa is too pitiful. I feel so sorry for him. Nodding after a moment of thought. All right, let's do that. Although it can be dangerous if he follows us around, but I can't see how it's better than letting him stay here in this place. Perhaps we will encounter someone that knows him along our travel. That's right. From out of the blue, the crazy old coot suddenly slaps his thigh, and then obsessively stared at the little steambun's face. Your eyes are just like bye-byes. You're both very bright in there. Bandit Deed Song 10. Bai Xiachen was stunned by that comment. If he were to use just that sliver about the eye to search for a person, then it would be a needle in a haystack. Where would he find such a person among so many? Grandpa, you follow us. My mother will help you find your bye-bye. Look for bye-bye. The crazy old man once again showed that dumb silly smile. Okay, let's go find bye-bye. In the end, the party of two has now become a party of three, following the acceptance of this crazy old coot. Humph, don't listen to good advice then. Since the little steambun won't listen, the middle-aged man just huffs a grunt and returned to his shop. He could care less about some strange kid that has shown him so much disrespect. In a city not far away from where Bai Xiachen and them were, the patrolling guards at the city gate were just minding their own business today when they saw the unimaginable, a horde of demonic beasts trampling over to their location. Run! The bandits from the demon realm are coming. The guard's voice echoes across the entire settlement as he cries out this news. What? The bandits from the demon realm are coming? The denizens of this city were horrified by the explosive news. Without a care for whatever they're doing, everyone began to flee for their lives after quickly packing their stuffs. This includes the lord of this city, as well, who emptied his treasury vault in a breeze. Yin Yin, why don't we take root in this city? Those in charge of the celestial realm should have taken notice of us by now after all the noise we made. Deet Song softly asks after he halted the horde that's following them from behind. Gently caressing her own tummy, Bai Yin took a second to think about the proposal. All right, I was getting a little sleepy anyways, let's rest here then. As if getting the signal to start acting up from that answer. I will be sure to clear everything in the way. Though the ones we encountered thus far is not strong at all. But those with real strength is sure to come soon. Your husband I hear will definitely beat every single one, and make them serve you. Bai Yin just didn't have the energy to tittle around with her man's antics, and began rubbing her own temple. Deet Song. I don't know why but my body's feeling rather restless lately. Do you think something happened to Xiaochen, and them back in the demon realm? Of course not, Yin Yin. You are overthinking this. He shakes his head in disapproval. With the amount of ruckus we're raising over here, those from the Celestial Palace will be too busy thinking up a plan to deal with us. Where will they have time to go attack the demon realm? Over the years, Deet Song has mostly figured out the strength and weaknesses of this celestial realm. What bothers him though were the lack of confrontation from those so-called keepers. Making an enlightened face, Bai Yin then thought of something else. Oh, that's right, Deet Song. I want to go inquire about Bai Ning's whereabout. She's not absolutely certain if this Bai Ning was her biological mother or not, but it's a glimmer of hope she doesn't want to give up on. What's more, she could perhaps get some news on where Bai Xiao was. The woman's getting worried about her brother after he disappeared a while back. Of course, I will go send my subordinates out to search. You stay at home and take care of the baby. If there's any news I'll be sure to come tell you. Nodding after concluding it's the best course of action. All right, I'll wait for your news. Spirit Fox 1. First Elder. After Deet Song's attention shifted away from his wife, that handsome face promptly turned hard as he spoke. Pass my order down. This place will be our base from now on. As you wish. Cupping his fist, the senior respectfully complies. Even though there are not many enemies thus far, but the celestial realm's landscape stretches for millions of miles, there's going to be more coming for sure. Furthermore, they're only at the outermost stretch of the domain. They haven't even begun to touch the core area, where there are dangers lurking at every turn. Also, send a couple of my strongest demon to guard the city gate. I don't want anyone coming or leaving without my explicit permission. After saying this, he immediately returns to helping Bai Yin into the city gate. However, unlike the bustling settlement that he expected of this place, what welcomed the couple was an empty husk that had toppled stalls, and a street rolling with dried leaves. Looking at this scene, Deet Song's expression instantly went black, because he's really starting to question himself. Am I really that horrible that everyone will run before I even get here? Deet Song, it seems your reputation is already infamous and far-spreading. Looking at this depressing sight of decline, Bai Yan's lips slightly curved upwards, while trying not to let her husband notice the little slip-up on her face. Humph, these people aren't any better than me if that's the case. Narrowing his eyes in with an extremely sour note. They treated the demonic beasts as food and material. How are they any different? This world is like that, the strong eats the weak. Without strength, one doesn't have any right to dictate the rules. However, turning warm and gentle as he stared down at the woman in his arms. Whether or not you are weak or strong, you will always be the undisputed one in charge of the demon realm. Very pleased by those sweet words, Bai Yin didn't mind being pampered right now, especially when her tummy was starting to show the bump of her child. Deet Song, I'm tired. No problem. I'll find a place so you can rest. Inside the city, the most luxurious place would have to be the city lord's manor. The only issue was the emptiness of the estate. There are no decorations or supplies left in place, after the previous owner fled in haste. As such, Deet Song figured it's better to take his wife to a local inn instead, where it's more functionable for now, until a acceptable manor could be built atop of the old one. Deet Song, I remember you mentioning there is a sizable population of demonic beasts living in this celestial realm. Is that correct? She asks while fiddling with her man's silvery hair. Let's do this then. Announce to all of those demons that they can join us if they wish, and we will rename this place as Demon City to act as a beacon of our influence. That's easy to do, Yen Yen. I'll go pass the message down to First Elder, so he can do it. Giving the woman a peck on the forehead, his voice was all doting and loving. You mustn't stress yourself during this period. The baby and you need to rest, so leave everything to me. Not far from Demon City, there lies a valley which stretches for thousands of miles, and was exceptionally dangerous. Nevertheless, two little adorable things are currently cutting through the shrubberies with their swords and carefully pushing forward. Spirit Fox 2. Old Grandpa, you walk slowly. Bai Xiaocheng decides to say that after finding the crazy old coot was jumping around too much in the area and putting himself into dangerous spots. Dragoni, you hold his hand so he doesn't run off and get lost. I alone will be enough to clear the path for us. Okay. Dragoni originally wanted to go back to as she's instructed, but the second she started walking over, the old senior bolted. Not to the side or in the opposite direction though. Rather, it's directly for the little steambun who's leading the party like a rushing bull. Bai Xiaochen honestly didn't know what was happening when he got charged. However, by the time he came back to his senses, he was already thrown to the floor and staring upwards at the sky. Boom! An invisible force from the back suddenly brushes past the toppled pair and smashes into a nearby tree, causing the huge stumpy trunk to explode from the impact and toppling over the last of the towering remains. What the? I didn't even notice that attack just now, yet this old man can react so quick. Is he really some random beggar? Oh, that was so scary, so scary. Despite what this old coot just did, he did not act like anything worthy of being called a powerful individual. In fact, that goofy grin and chicken coop at the top continued to give the iron-masked image of a senile old elder. Highness, Dragoni runs over to help the boy up. Are you alright? Did you get hit anywhere? I'm fine. Turning sharp in the eye, Bai Xiaochen stares in the direction of where the attack came from. Come Dragoni, let's go see what's happening over there. Although the little missy was very afraid of what lies ahead, she nevertheless listened to the little steambun's instruction out of habit. She's always been obedient to the boy's words, and this won't be any different. Up ahead, the entire area had been flattened instead of the tree-filled terrain like the rest of the forest. But that's not the most important bit in their view. It's the group of hunters and women at the center of their encirclement. The ladies covered in blood and appeared enraged by the foes. Spirit Fox, you have nowhere else to hide anymore after escaping us for so many years, ha ha. The one saying this was a man that had an elderly but muscular appearance. I'll give you a chance, submit to me or die by my sword. The woman wearing the green dress in the middle promptly sneered at the proposal. Even though she's clearly at a disadvantage, and likely on the last leg, those eyes remain stubborn and full of fire. Submit to you? Dream on. I am Spirit Fox. Even if my soul is destroyed, I will never surrender to the likes of you. In that case, I'll grant your wish. Narrowing those old eyes in, the buffed elderly individual in charge of the hunters revealed a glint of murderous intent when he drew his blade. Bat hump. Just then, right as the cold hard steel was about to slash down from above, a small rustling sound from the side had caught their attention, causing the hunters to pause and look over. They could see it's a young little boy stumbling out from behind a huge tree, and considering those fear-filled eyes, they figured the newcomer were no threat to the group. Who are you? The elder asks with a demanding tone, and made the little boy burst into tears. Spirit Fox 3. I am looking for my mother, I am looking for my mother. Annoyed by the interruption, the old hunter frowned. Your mother is not here, so hurry away. This is not a place for children to stay. Since the other side was only a child, he didn't give too much care, and simply shooed the other side away. Grandpapa, can you take me to my mother? The little boy looked timidly at the hunters, his mouth drawing into a thin line of pity and sadness. If it was under normal circumstances, these hunters would have offered aid to a lost child for sure. But this was not the case today. They had more pressing matters at hand than to babysit a young boy. Go, hurry up and go. If you don't go, then I'll have someone throw you away. The buff old hunter impatiently waves at the boy again. Grandpapa. Since the distance between both sides had drawn to a measurable short distance at this point, The act of shooing away the child was like a welcoming gesture to cling onto the man's sleeve. This for sure made the old hunter grew more impatient. However, he didn't expect the shaking gesture from his arm to earn himself a dagger through the palm instead. "You!" the old hunter exclaims and tries to blow his little assailant away. Unfortunately for him, none of his power would come forward when he tried. In fact, his arm that has been pricked by the dagger grew numb and powerless, thus making it all too easy for the boy to dodge to one side when he reached out. What innocent boy that's lost in the woods? What timid poor boy that only wanted to seek help? There's none of that. Only a little devil that's showing a devilish grin. You're not bad. Your entire body is covered in treasures that resist physical attacks from others. Aside from your face and the palm of your hand, none of my weapons would have been able to get through. Bai Xiachen comments with his cheeky smile. So how do you feel now? Do you like my poison that's on my dagger? The old hunter's face had gone white at this point. He desperately wanted to expel the toxin by forcibly pushing the invading element out from his veins. But the more he tried, the worse it got. How can this be? He mutters with clenched teeth while taking a step back. Who the hell are you? A twisted grin draws itself across the boy's face as a fluffy tail of silver came out of his back, waving it in the air to show the old hunter. Stupid, can't you see my identity? Shock filled the hunter's eye. Fox? You are a demon? This little thing is actually a demon? Impossible. Even if it is a demon taking human form, I still would have noticed long before he got close. How did I not catch it? Dragony old grandpa, you can come out now. Bai Xiachen beckons her friends to come out of hiding from the huge tree behind himself. So fun, so fun. The crazy old coot was the first to jump out of the cover, clapping his hand with that goofy smile. So fun, little guy. Can you lend me your poisonous dagger? I want to poke him a few times too. The comment instantly made the old hunter falter backwards a couple of steps, however. His body froze as soon as he took a closer look at the one speaking. Spirit Fox 4. You are. How can it be him? The old hunter gulps hard, understanding he might have mistakenly poked at a huge hornet's nest this time. Although he had only ever seen him from afar at the palace, but the impression remains very deep and memorable. Sure, this old coot would often act crazy before the public, but even those keepers would abstain from provoking him. That just goes to show how prestigious and important this old coot's background was. On the other hand, the crazy old coot acted like he didn't give a care in the world. Using his dirty hands, the senile old gramp began to pat the hunter's head like he's hitting a child. Come on, run, go on and run, this is too fun, ha ha. Bai Xiachen didn't pay too much attention to the antics of the old fella. Instead his eyes fell upon the woman lying to the ground. How are you? Somewhat surprised by the question, Spirit Fox struggles to climb up from the ground using the tree trunk as support, heaving long raspy breaths. I'm fine, thank you, little brother. Can you tell me why he is trying to capture you? Drawing her eyes downward in a dejected manner. He wants to use me as an ingredient in his alchemic recipe. I kept running away and hiding, but in the end he eventually found me. Giving an understanding nod, Bai Xiachen knew he must help. I have some Dan pills here, but I don't know which can help cure your injury. Why don't you try them all, how about it? That said, he promptly pulled out multiple bottles to hand over one bead from each one. Happy and grateful in her expression. I'm thankful, but medicinal pills are useless for me. I only need to rest for a while to recover. But as you can see, this place is too dangerous to do just that. When you leave, can you take me along? Okay. The little steam bun didn't hesitate to nod and places the pills away. Then have a good rest. I will take you with us. Spirit Fox tiredly closes her eyes as her body lets off a blue glow. Moments later, there were no longer a woman leaning up against a tree here. Rather, there's only a blue fox lying on the ground already asleep. Dragony, you take her with you. Why me? Dummy, boys and girls need not touch. She is a female, so it will be inconvenient to keep her on me. Not like she's little rice, you know. Then turning his face into an almost serious yet hilarious look, Mother said, aside from relatives and my future wifey, I can't get too close to other girls. Eh! The crazy old coot gave up on torturing the old hunter at this point, and ran over with his palms rubbing against itself. Are we having roast fox tonight? If we are, then I want the leg. I like eating the leg part. Bai Xiaoqin's face went black and immediately shot a stare over. This fox is my kind. She's not for eating. If you eat foxes again, I'll ignore you from now on. Puckering up his lip in grievance, the old coot was obviously unhappy at being yelled at. Fine, I won't eat then, why yell at me? You can't eat foxes, and you can't eat demonic beasts either. If you can't, then I won't help you find your bye-bye. Forking those little hands against his waist, the little steam bun stands firm on the matter. I won't eat, you must help me find my bye-bye. In comparison to finding his bye-bye, filling the stomach meant nothing. That's a good boy. Praising the old coot by touching his head. You help us look after this fox and I'll do that, otherwise I won't help you. Okay. Casting one final glance at Spirit Fox, the crazy old coot's attention continues to linger around the little thing's body. I can only look and can't eat, this is too torturous. Spirit Fox 5. Running up to the old hunter after getting an idea, Bai Xiaoqin began to rub the bottom of his chin. Your armor is not bad, quickly take it off and give it to me. Shuddering at the order, the poor man pleads. But I don't have any clothes underneath. I don't care. If you and your partners want to live, then take off your armor. There's no room for discussion in his tone, a true props to his old man's lineage of being a ruler. In the end, the old hunter could only do as told under the eyes of his companions. He's naked standing there in the breeze, both hands tightly covering his important part between the legs, as he shivered from the cold. Frightened by the sight, Dragoni hurries to cover her eyes from the picture, and hid behind the boy and old crazy coot. Black in the face at what he indirectly caused, the little steam bun hurries to remedy it. What are you all still waiting for, Scram? But the antidote, the old hunter meekly says. Despite being the leader of this hunting party, the old hunter could only bow his head under duress, blinking his cute little eyes at the request like he's some sort of innocent angel. But I only know how to concoct poisons. I don't know how to cure them. In that instant, the old hunter's expression immediately collapsed into outrage. However, right as he's about to lash out at how ridiculous it was to not carry an antidote, Bai Xiaoqin had shot another glare over, and made the person cower away. You must be teasing me. How can you not have an antidote? Actually, making a frown on his cute little face, there is a way to cure the poison. You only need to get a child to urinate on the wound, and avoid making contact with me. As soon as you draw close, then the poison will activate and increase in your veins, until all of your flesh begin to fester from rot. Losing his soul from fright, the old hunter didn't need any warning on that point. He would rather not meet this little devil for a second time in his life. All right, I've told you what you want now, so Scram. Puckering his lips in dissatisfaction, Bai Xiaoqin demands again. Naturally, the old hunter and his goonies needed no urging on the matter. The party practically ran for the foot of the mountain, like they've just encountered a ferocious beast, and survived the encounter. Highness, does that poison really need a child's urine to cure? Dragoni asks with a gullible look of innocence. Of course not. Mother never allows me to bring those poisonous things around, nor does she let me concoct my own poison. The stuff I slabbed onto my dagger is nothing but a neutralizer that numbs a person for an hour. Afterwards he will be fine and back to normal. Then why did you tell him that? Doubtful now. The little missy still believes the urine nonsense was true. That old hunter hurt a member of the foxes. How can I let him go without a lesson? The boy huffs a snort like he's done something great. All right, we've wasted enough time in this forest. Let's go and head to the nearest town. I'm sure we will get some information about mother and batty father there, since they are bound to make a lot of noise after their arrival. Dragoni agrees to the idea and nods right away. Truth was, her level of worship towards the demon prince has risen to a level of deifying the boy, so he could literally say the sun was black, and she would still believe him. Hey, did any of you hear about the demons that came to our celestial realm? They apparently conquered a city, and renamed it Demon City. Spirit Fox 6. Those demons from that demon realm really is bold. How dare they come invade our celestial realm? Seriously, why is no one retaliating yet? I reckon the powerful ones on our side is currently rushing over from where they are right now. There's no way they will allow some rambunctious demons trample around unhindered. But then again, I keep getting this feeling that the Great War from a millennium ago is going to start again from the way things are turning out. Inside the local tea house, Bai Xiachen continues to listen in on the various conversations of these patrons until he himself decides it's time to move on. Grabbing a passing waitress, he puts on a naive and innocent smile. "Pretty sister, can I ask you where that so-called demon city is?" Startled at first at being pulled from out of the blue, the waitress stops and looks down at the little man, who instantly captivated her heart with how adorably cute he was. She's never seen such a handsome young boy, especially those eyes which seems to sparkle with light. "Little brother, that city has been taken over by the demons. You shouldn't go anywhere near it lest those demons ruin you, as well with their scourge." Bai Xiachen's face went black. Is this how the people of this world think of us demons? "Beautiful sister, I'm only curious and want to take a quick peek. Can you give me the directions to get there?" Slightly giving another tug at the waitress's sleeve, he increases the level of his cuteness for the final blow. In the face of such a lovely little guy, no one would be able to refuse his request. When you head straight out of town, about a kilometer away, there will be a city patrolled by demons. That is the city of demons. "Thank you, beautiful sister." Moving to bow his head in thanks, the little steam bun then turns to hold Dragoni's hand, who's been waiting the entire time. "Highness." Despite others not knowing, the little missy definitely felt the change in the boy's tone, and it's not a pleasant one. "My mother is not the type to indiscriminately kill others, and my father won't either with her by his side." Narrowing his eyes in after saying that, and based on what that beautiful sister said, the reputation of us demons are very bad in these parts. But I believe in my kind, they won't attack others so casually. Someone must be smearing our reputation. Back in the human world there are no shortages of demonic beasts. However, they have always huddled together in seclusion and away from human civilization. Furthermore, they would only attack if provoked first. That's a fact and not a belief, since humankind was able to live peacefully while having a horde of demonic beasts roosting inside the abyss forest. "Dragoni, let's go find mother first." No longer dwelling on the matter, Bai Xiachen was ready to go forward with Dragoni in tow, when a person suddenly collided with himself as he turned. As a result, he ends up stumbling backwards a few steps from the impact. "Outrageous! Do you not see my family's lady is here? How dare you get in her way and not move?" Immediately, a loud holler came from the front. Raising his head, the boy could see the outburst had come from an arrogant-looking maid walking behind another female, wearing a pearly white dress. The maid didn't look exceptional by any standard, but the maid's mistress that had bumped into Bai Xiachen definitely stood out with quite the beautiful contour. "It was clearly her who bumped into my gidge, big brother. Why do we have to apologize?" Dragoni fights back with her logic and angry stare at the maid. Spirit Fox 7. The maid flew into a rage, but right as she's about to go up to hit the girl who would disrespect herself, a raised hand had blocked the maid from moving. "Enough, this is not a big deal anyways, why make it hard for a child?" Yun Ruo, she extends her hand with a smile on that face as a gesture of goodwill. "Little brother, it wasn't intentional on my end, so how about we reconcile with a handshake?" First giving a look at the outstretched hand, then at the gathered crowd of onlookers, Bai Xiachen only took a second to muse over the decision, as he lowered his head in an apologetic manner. "My mother told me that one should apologize if one did wrong, so I'll apologize. I didn't see you and bumped into you. I thought I wouldn't hit anyone because of how slow I was walking, but I didn't expect." In other words, despite being not at fault because of his slow pace, he would still apologize since both sides held responsibility. Going stiff in the face at being pointed out, Yun Ruashi shoots a warning glare to the maid behind herself before turning back to the boy with a smile. "My maid is too impolite, so don't mind her." "Is she your personal maid?" asked Bai Xiachen, She didn't understand why the boy would ask that but nodded anyway. She is indeed my personal maid. I've had her by my side since I was a child. Oh. Nodding like he's enlightened. My mother said that a maid represents their master and mistress. If a maid is too arrogant, then that's the result of their master's deliberate indulgence. And in many cases, the voice of their master, because there are some words they don't want to say in person. That said, the little steam bun then raises his head to confront Yun Ruoshi directly in the eye. There are no maids like that around my mother, who doesn't know what is right from wrong. Don't you understand that much? That made Yun Ruoshi go from green to white, then from white to green in exasperation. It's exactly as the boy says. She's been indulging her maid over the years, and would even use the maid to say things she herself doesn't want to say in public. But to be exposed before the public like so, it's making her extremely uncomfortable. Sure enough, the gathered crowd had started to turn their heads in disappointment, especially for those who thought the lady was some clean flower, instead of the tainted rose whom she was. I thought this lady is gentle and kind with a good character. But then again, why would she have such a nasty maid if she herself wasn't so nasty? I know, right? If it wasn't for the boy we would still be in the dark. I say, who is the boy's mother? He's clearly very well taught. The murmuring was starting to have an effect since Yun Ruoshi had clenched her fists up. The only saving grace was the fact that no one knew who she truly was. Otherwise the image she maintained for so many years would be ruined today. Miss, look at this boy. Pa. Not going to give ammunition to the little steam bun. She directly slaps the maid in the face to keep that mouth from yapping. You be quiet. How many times have I disciplined you? If it wasn't for your father whom I owe a debt to, do you think I would keep indulging you? In other words, she only turned a blind eye to the maid's nasty nature because of a debt, not because of what Bai Xiachen said about herself. You bitch, I finally found you. Just as Yun Ruoshi was twisting the story to her own advantage and clearing herself of any taint, the old coot suddenly pounced over from the side and threw a heavy punch to her head. Worse was that things didn't end there. The old coot also started to pull at her hair. The more he pulled, the harder his strength became until the situation crumbled into a mess. Spirit Fox 8. You. The pain nearly made Yun Ruoshi break out into tears. She wanted to lash out in retaliation, but that's when she realizes who it was. In that instant, her complexion had lost all color. How can it be him? Why is this old man here? You bitch, I'm going to kill you. You killed my good granddaughter. I'm going to kill you, bitch. The crazy old man has now turned into a vicious old man. His fist was relentless when smashing down at the lady's face, causing it to go bruise and sore in all sorts of places. As painful as it was for Yun Ruoshi to take this beating, fear overtook everything else in this case. She knows, since that event back then, this crazy old coot hated her more than anything else in this world, to the point where she never once dared to appear before him. To think they would bump heads in a place like this of all places. Meanwhile on the side, Bai Xiachen had his eyes staring wide in dismay towards this interaction. He's completely taken aback and surprised by this twist of event. This old grandpapa. Does he have a vendetta against her? Gidge. Dragoni nudges at the boy's hand. What's wrong with him? Why is the grandpapa acting like this? Didn't you listen? Grandpapa's granddaughter died because of her. She killed her. That's a death grudge, ah. Drawing his lips into a sinister smirk, Bai Xiachen's sight now lands firmly onto Yun Ruoshi's body, who's curled into a fetal position for protection. Gidge, do you also hate this woman? Asked the little missy with curiosity in those eyes. With her understanding of Bai Xiachen, the boy wouldn't normally dwell on a matter like this unless it's out of spite. Since he did so, then it must mean he doesn't like or outright hate her. Strange though, this was clearly their first time meeting the lady since they arrived in the celestial realm. So why the heavy grudge? Yes, I don't like her. I didn't like her since the first second I laid eyes on her. Crumpling his cute little face into a frown. Especially when I see her fake face. My dislike inexplicably grew deeper until it's become a form of hatred. Dragoni nods in earnest. If that's the case, then I also hate her. Grandpapa. Bai Xiachen saw that the old coot has done enough damage and waves for him to come over. Let's go, we will go find your Bai. That stopped the crazy old coot from continuing. With a goofy grin. Okay, let's go find Bai. However, that's not before the old senior sent another kick at the bruised-up lady. Apparently hatred knows no bound. Even if one becomes senile and unable to discern what's reality or an illusion. Finally free from her assailant, Yin Ruoxi's first instinct was to clean herself up so she wouldn't look like such a mess. Sadly for her though, aside from wiping the blood from the corner of her mouth, she couldn't do any more for her hair, because the old senior had ripped some of her scalp along the process. Just touching the upper part of her head would bring a stinging pain that made her gasp. What are you all looking at, Scram? The maid snaps out at the gathered crowd after realizing no one was helping and made them disperse. Of course, that's not before they all bellowed out into a laughing fit at this hilarious show. Miss, are you all right? The maid quickly crouches down to help her lady up. That old man is so abominable. Pa. Sending another slap at her maid without any indication. Yin Ruoxi spoke with grits and stone between her teeth. Where the hell were you? Why didn't you help me? The maid shuddered because she didn't dare to say she's too afraid to help. Miss, the old man and the blasted child is too much. Why don't we follow up with a... Flashing a killing light in her eyes, she makes a beheading gesture with that hand. Spirit Fox 9. Huffing a grunt at her maid's idea. Go ahead and kill that old man if you think you can, but that child must die. Yin Ruoxi doesn't understand why either, but she detests the boy as soon as she's met him as well. Coupled with the fact that he dares to challenge her, it only made sense things would turn out this way. You immediately go inquire about that boy. I want to know where they went. If my guesses are right, that little girl is a demon. Yes, milady. The maid wasted no time to retreat from the lady's presence. She's afraid further punishment would befall herself if she lingered. Minutes later. Miss, I've checked. They're likely heading to that city of demons. City of demons? Yin Ruoxi sneered. Recently the movements of the demon realm are getting bigger and bigger. Now they're also recruiting the local demons to their side. So I bet that little girl is also doing the same by heading there. Xiaoqing, maid. Go see if those monarchs have come yet. Monarch? A title that could only be given if one possesses the strength of a high divine, or above in this world. In that case, the individual would be allowed to set up his own territory and become a ruler of a region, somewhat effectively becoming a king of a domain. If they come, flashing a cold hard light in the eyes, tell them to come find me at the inn. I want to discuss with them on how to deal with the demon realm together. But before that, I must lead that old fart away from the demon girl and boy. Otherwise he might end up joining those demons and turn against us. At this moment, right outside the walls of a city adorned with a plague inscribed with the word Demon City, thousands of demons and demonic beasts were being processed for entry into the settlement. Their treatment wasn't of the best out there, mainly because Bai Yin didn't have trust in these individuals, who has lived in the celestial realm all their lives. But these demons didn't have any other better options out there aside from seeking protection from Di Tsong and his subordinates. Yin Yin. You've been watching these demons for so long atop of this wall. What do you think of them? Di Tsong asks while bringing a coat for his wife to wear, making a mild smile. At the moment I can't see anything out of place, but there is bound to be some down there sent to spy on us. After all, they've been isolated from the demon realm, so it's expected that some would become loyal to the enemies. It's better to be careful. She wants all of the demons to return to their roots, but that doesn't mean she would allow others to take advantage of this opening. Suddenly, Bai Yan's attention lands onto a woman hidden among the crowd, her eyes beaming with a touch of frost. There's something wrong with that woman. Drawing his lips into a smirk, Di Tsong also turns to the crowd that's below. You also noticed? Let's go. In one leap, she descends from the wall and surprises the gathered demons with her entry. Spirit Fox 10. As beautiful as this woman's appearance was, the crowd greatly lamented the fact that she's pregnant and not a virgin. Otherwise they would be conniving to woo this one. Yin Yan, you be careful, we can't have you getting hurt. Landing with a frown, Song hurries to examine his wife for any issue. When I was pregnant with Xiachen, I was running around outside still, and getting into all sorts of fights. Do you see me getting hurt? Shooting a glare at her husband for over-worrying. My babies aren't so frail. If she and her baby could endure the damage from a lightning strike, then a simple descent from some city wall was nothing. After lecturing her hubby, Bai Yin returns her attention to the woman in question. Though ordinary in appearance, she just has a strange aching suspicion this individual wasn't normal. Say it, who sent you? Going slightly white in the face. I don't know what you're talking about. Won't tell the truth. Bai Yin continues to examine the person in a scrutinizing manner. You think I won't notice just because you're wearing a wolf skin? Why are you pretending to be a demon and trying to enter the city? Finding she's been discovered already, the spy didn't bother trying to keep up her facade anymore and bursts out laughing. In an instant, the aura explodes out of the woman and blows the nearby demons away in all direction due to the force created. Careful! Alarmed, Song hurries to pull his wife into a protective hug to shield her from the explosion. She is a high divine. High divine? Bai Yin was surprised because this high divine was the most powerful enemy to date. Are you the king of the demon realm? The spy ignored the pregnant queen and turned to Song instead with a look of desire. It's too obvious on what she wanted when that tongue stretched out to lick her own lips. Your strength is very good, grinning maliciously. With your strength, marrying such a woman is too much of a pity. How about this? Leave her and come to my side to become my husband. What say you? A flash of hardness flickered across Song's eyes after hearing that pompous statement. In order to reassure his wife, he immediately leaves a soft kiss along Bai Yan's lip. Just wait here for me. I'll come back after I finish dealing with this spy. Be careful. If they're only one enemy, then she's very confident her own man could handle it. Loosening his arms around Bai Yan's body, Song now focuses his entire attention to the opposite side. Boom! In this moment, gushes of air came blowing out of his clothes, due to him releasing his full might, which causes the spy to narrow in her eyes as well. So the rumors are true. The Demon King is as strong as they say. It's good I came in person to get an impression first. Now I can take him as a male consort in my harem. Demon King, why go against the celestial realm when you're such a handsome beauty? There's no way you will prevail with only your level of strength, and that useless wife of yours. That's right, in the eyes of this high divine, likely a monarch and ruler of one region, this spy thought of Bai Yin as nothing more than an ant, an insect that she could crush with one foot. However, the comment didn't infuriate the mentioned wife. It only made her break out into a chuckle. Celestial Realms Faction 1. Wait, Song. There's something I want to ask her first. Slowly coming forward, Bai Yan's eyes were burning with fire. Although the Demon King didn't know what his wife wanted to do, but he's not going to stop her if that's her wish. However, he's going to remain ready in case anything happens. You're almost 50 or 60 years old now, right? She asks with a meaningful smirk. Maintaining one's youthful image wasn't hard for a cultivator, especially for those at the higher levels like the one before herself. That's right. Ticking her lip into a cheeky smirk, the spy had plenty of confidence her achievements are something to be proud of, because there aren't many like her even in 100 years. Then what right do you have to call me weak and useless, if it took you 60 years to reach the high divine level? An air of defiance exudes out of Bai Yan's body as she confronts the spy who looks down at herself. I began to cultivate at the age of 15, and is now 7 years into reach where I am today. As for yourself, it took you over 50 years to break up to the high divine. How can you be so proud with that sort of achievement? What's more, my subordinates are barely 30 years old, and is already at the bottom divine. It will just be a matter of time before they overtake someone like you. Bai Yin could ignore others trying to insult herself, because she doesn't care about the opinions of others. But it's a different story if it involves the demon realm. Nor would she allow others to get the impression that the queen of the demon realm was a useless woman that only knows how to rely on the man. Likewise, the spy's remark had infuriated the gathered demons gathered around the city gate. Their eyes are filled with anger at the woman who insulted them all. The only woman worthy of being my wife is already standing next to me. Deed Song began to move after throwing this out there, and due to how fast his attacks were, a cloud of dust was stirred into the air as a result. You're also a high divine? The spy exclaims after being surprised by that incredible speed. Such a shame. A man this capable is being accompanied by such a useless woman over there. That's right. In the eyes of this woman who came to make trouble, any female with the strength beneath herself was a useless weakling that deserves to be trampled. Queen, what are you doing? First Elder was at first focused onto the battle that's taking place, but quickly shifted to Bai Yin instead, who's setting up a pattern of stones on the ground at such an odd timing. Raising a smirk at the question, she gladly answered the Elder's inquiry. I want everyone to know that Deed Song's wife is not weak or useless. So what if she couldn't beat the enemy in a direct fight? It's not like brute force was the only way to win out there. The queen knows how to set up spell matrices. First Elder inwardly thought, ignoring the strange and shocked look coming her way from multiple individuals at this point. Bai Yin continues to arrange her stones on the floor, and furthered the effort by scribbling some strange diagrams with a chalk pen. Moments later and she was done. Wiping the sweat from her forehead, she returns her gaze over to the battle that was still continuing with increased ferocity. Celestial Realms Faction 2. As a result of the constant exchanges between the two that's fighting up in the air now, the ground has become littered with miniature craters due to their back and forth. In short, the earth has become a hazardous scorched earth appearance, and many demons fled as far as they could without actually leaving the city outskirts entirely. Even so, the upper hand soon fell into Deed Song's hands as beads of sweat became apparent across the female spy's forehead. Deed Song. Suddenly, a faint yet crisp cry reached out from the rear, and made the Demon King swing around at that gorgeous face. Throw her inside this spell formation I made, and then inject your power into it. Without hesitation at his wife's order, Deed Song instantly blinked behind the female spy, and stomped down at the woman's back, causing an audible thud with his foot, and landing a bullseye in the process. Then to seal the deal, he reached out with his hand and blasted his wife's work with a sizable chunk of his power in the form of a purplish flame. Naturally, that final gesture wasn't an attack. Rather, it's an injection like Bai Yin wanted, thus causing the spell to wink to life. When the red light rose from within at its activation, the female spy immediately screamed out in pain like the area inside were burning with toxic fume. It's excruciating and tortuous, even to those listening in, so it didn't take much for others to realize what's happening. Painful. The spy flew into a desperate rage in no time, constantly throwing herself entirely at the transparent veil that's acting as her cage. Unfortunately for this poor foolish woman, whatever attempt she's trying to do were for naught, because the weight of her attacks and body slamming didn't even make a dent in the veiled circle. Rather, it's herself who's tittered with scrapes and bruises from all that fussing. Let me out, you let me out now. Her eyes turned red, showing a look of madness as she continued. In awe at this amazing spectacle, First Elder had to ask again with increased variety in the tone of his voice. Queen, this spell formation of yours, it's able to trap a high divine. It's not like the Demon Elder was overreacting in this case. Even in the demon realm, a high divine was a rarity, and could be considered a powerhouse among the Demon King's army. Word count. 1146 last edited by Cat00 on March 18, 2020 at 1:19 p.m. Toggle panel. Publish preview changes. Opens in a new tab. Status. Published edit status visibility. Public edit visibility revisions. 2 browse revisions published on March 15, 2020 at 2024 edit date, and time moved to trash toggle panel. Patreon level required the below membership tier or higher to view this post. Makes entire post patron only. If you set a precise amount in advanced settings below, or had one set before, that will be used instead. Require the below precise $1 monthly membership or over to view this post. Optional. Overrides the above select box when used. $1 require in shrugging her shoulder like it's nothing. Bai Yin spoke with a hint of melancholy, like what she achieved was nothing to gloat about. If by virtue of power, then of course I can't imprison a high divine. That's why I borrowed Ditsong's strength. That said, she then stares down at the prisoner with a taunting look. What now? Didn't you call me weak and useless earlier? How come you are trapped by the one you are looking down upon? Stopping now over that remark, the female spy clenched her teeth and showed a defiant face. You're only relying on your man to subdue me. Who do you think you are to speak to me in that manner? Well, at least I have my man to rely upon, you don't. At least I have my man to rely upon, you don't. If it was the old Bai Yin, who still hasn't married, yet then she would never say something like that. Unknowingly, she too has been changing since their union. While the Demon King became more humanistic and less of a hard ass, the Queen herself has learned to give trust to others when carrying a burden. The spy couldn't retort to that statement since Ditsong and Bai Yin are a couple after all. Like what else was she supposed to say in this instance when she's already caught? In the end, regret was the only emotion filling up this one, because she didn't need to come alone today. She could have waited and attacked with the other monarchs who were still arriving from their territories. I haven't used this spell formation in many years already. Generally it's reserved for traders that has some secret I needed to know. Are you honored that it's being used on you? The spy didn't respond, only clenching her teeth in silent defiance. I call this the tortuous truth bind. It inflicts and intensifies the pain receptors of those inside it. Whenever you answer me dishonestly, then it will detect that in your brain, which would create a reaction. Just so you know, the pain you felt when the spell activated is nothing to what you are going to experience once I begin my interrogation. Despite her smile being so gorgeously mesmerizing, Bai Yan's face only looked menacing and dark in the eyes of her captive. It's the same as the Demon King's, only in the female form. Your name? The spy didn't take the warning to heart, of course. With a snort, she swung her head to the side without answering. Now that's when it happened. Glowing underneath the ground, the scribbles of weird symbols Bai Yin wrote on the floor with the chalk pen began to glow red again, and bolts of lightning just zapped upwards from out of the blue. Unlike the usual electrifying experience of being hit by thunder, these bolts of electric beams didn't get absorbed by the flesh. Instead, they acted like whips of thorns that whacked her fleshly body in every angle. This includes the face, the chest, and... Well, a torturing device doesn't discern between a female's private parts, so those bits were also up for the taking. By the time the first wave was over, the spy could see her clothes had mostly been ripped and left her bare for the world to see due to all the damage. However, that's not the worst of it. Wherever those whips of electrifying madness landed, it would leave behind a line of blackness on her skin to show it's been severely burned from the contact. There's still white smoke smoldering out of her ruined skin. Celestial Realms Faction 3. Her eyes were finally overtaken by the despair she felt from within. Those eyes of the demons coming her way. And the pitiful condition she herself was in right now. There's no hope to be found. I'll ask again, tell me your name. Oh yes. I forgot to tell you this spell formation will increase in its intensity whenever you refuse to answer me honestly. This time it's a lightning whip. Next time it might be some sort of fire or water attack. The spy's body trembled harder after hearing that. It's Mu Mei. Second question, what are you here for? Mu Mei tightly clenched her fists in frustration, but answered anyways. I have been informed that the demon realm is attacking us, so all of us monarchs are to gather in this region to combat the threat. Monarchs. High divines are titled monarchs within the celestial realm, because we are charged with the rule of a regional territory. Bai Yin nods in approval at the explanation. Then who is it that informed you of our coming? How many of you are there in this world? Please, the one who informed me is Yun Ruo Shi of the Celestial Palace. She's the one you want. As for how many of us there are, it's somewhere between 40 to 50 the last I checked. That surprised Bai Yin. 40 to 50 monarchs? Then that means there might be even more high divine enemies hidden in the shadows. This battle won't be easy. One last question. Do you know about a woman by the name of Bai Ning? Bai Ning. The name not only roused a reaction from Mu Mei, it downright made her frightened in that moment. There's open fear in the spy's eye after hearing those two words. Catching this unmistakable look of recognition, Bai Yan's expression turned serious and hard when pressing for more. You know Bai Ning? The one you're speaking of. Is she the one who escaped unscathed after openly assaulting the Celestial Palace? That Bai Ning? Yes, I'm talking about her. Do you know where she is? Bai Yan's heart tensed up, and causes her to reach in with her hands without thinking. She's gripping Mu Mei's collar, and almost choked the poor woman with her behavior. Yin Yan. Afraid his wife's mood would become too unstable, Ditsong hurried over to wrap his arms around her waist to show his support. He hopes the act would help calm her mood down to a manageable level. I don't know. Mu Mei stutters this out with great difficulty. She really doesn't know where Bai Ning was. In fact, the entire celestial realm wouldn't know either on where that woman was hiding. Otherwise the Celestial Palace would have long sent its people to capture the criminal years ago. She's like a ghost, come without indication, and then leave without a trail. Loosening her grip around the woman's collar, Bai Yan had to force herself to take a step back in order to inhale deeply. Only then did her emotions calm down a bit. Ditsong, don't worry, I'm fine. She just wanted to see her so much. I'll help you find her, don't worry. Pained by his wife's appearance, Ditsong gives her a rub on the shoulder as reassurance. Bai Yan knew she couldn't change the fact and nodded, turning back to the spy. Mu Mei, since you're here already, then you can forget about leaving. No one can undo this spell formation that I set. Shuddering, the spy frantically pounded at the veil. I've already answered your question. What else do you want? Snickering. Just the fact that you peeped at my husband is enough for me to not let you live. This formation will last for 49 days. Afterwards you two will disperse into nothingness along with it. Celestial Realms Faction 4. Don't you go, please let me out, I beg of you. Acting as if she didn't hear the plead, Bai Yan disappears off into the city with her husband, leaving only a crying Mu Mei in the background that kept pounding away at the Veil prison. After days of renovation, the former city lord's estate has now taken on a new look of replenishment when Ditsong and his wife arrived at the site. Ditsong, crossing her arms with a displeased look on the face, Bai Yan clearly didn't feel happy when she took a seat on the bedside. It looks like we need to rethink our plans in our attack of the Celestial Realm. There's too many powerful individuals out there that we aren't aware of still. If only my strength is higher, then I won't have to be so passive. Getting a seat beside his wife since he knew he had to say something lest she starts getting dangerous ideas again. Yen Yen, you only need to take care of the baby in your tummy. I will handle this until you are ready to fight by my side again. Showing a bittersweet smile, Bai Yan also looks down and rubs her already showing stomach. Perhaps this child didn't come at the right timing. If it is a few years later, then I could do something now instead of waiting. Don't dwell on the what-ifs, Yen Yen. What needs to come will come, not to mention, cusping his hands around hers, I will protect both you and our daughter. She didn't respond, only staring downwards at their hands for a long time before looking up at her own man. Ditsong, Mu Mei mentioned before that the one who summoned them is a woman by the name of Yin Ruoxi. I don't know why, but I keep getting a sensation that I know that name somewhere. It's familiar to me. Unfortunately, the answer to the dilemma was like a bait dangling in front of a rod. So close yet so far. If you're tired, then rest early. I'll go discuss this with the other elders. Gently picking up his wife with both arms to tuck her inside bed, Ditsong made sure to cover her body tightly with the cover, before landing a peck on her forehead. Though still worried about their future, Bai Yan didn't resist the offer to rest. She's indeed really tired as of late, so her closes unconsciously began to close itself, as the man left the room. Back over in the small town, Yun Ruoxi was currently standing with her back turned to the door of her room, and facing the window when several figures suddenly appeared behind herself. You're all here? She asks with a pleased smile as she swung around. Miss Ruoxi, did you summon us here in order to deal with those from the demon realm? Asked a middle-aged man who took a step forward, giving a nod as her answer. Those eyes were full of sadness when she spoke. As we all know, the temperaments of the demons are cruel and ruthless by nature, such as their kind from eons past. Though we've managed to subdue them 1,000 years ago during that great war, but it's clear to us in the Celestial Palace that they're trying to make a return today. Please, I need the help of the monarchs. You all are the pillars supporting the celestial realm, and the strongest fighting force we have. I know my powers are limited, but implore you all, please heed my command as vested in me by the keepers. Ha ha ha. The middle-aged man bellows out a laugh. No need to be so polite, Miss Ruashi. Slaying demons are our duty. Even without your request, we will still do our part. Celestial Realms Faction 5. Thank you. Yun Ruashi graces them with a genuine smile. You are all true patriots of the Celestial Realm. When I ascend onto the Supreme Throne, I will certainly not forget you all. Now that's what they're all waiting for. Immediately, a round of pleased smiles were shown across these monarchs' faces. Wonderful. I hope Miss Ruashi wouldn't forget today's promise. We will return after we finish off those from the demon realm. The middle-aged man cusps his hand as a show of respect before rushing off towards the darkness. Quickly, the rest of the group were also gone from view, each heading off in the general direction of where the demon city was in their own separate fashion. They're all lords and masters of their own territory. Even if they're working together to take down a common enemy, they aren't going to rely on one another to watch their own backs. Pleased with herself, Yin Rua, she was also ready to take her own leave now since there's nothing more for herself to do. However, right as she's about to take a step back to leave this room, her eyes suddenly caught wind of a familiar figure up in the air. The man had a proud and divine air to him. Beautiful yet lonely, like the world couldn't taint his very existence. You! The initial shock soon changed to joy as emotions ran wild in Ho's eyes. You're back! He's finally back. Excitement filled the woman's heart as a flush of red covered those cheeks like some young maiden who's never tried love in her life. She's shy and timid, the perfect picture of that when facing the man she loves. You go back to the Celestial Palace. Sadly, the first words coming out of Chewy God's mouth shattered the illusion instantly, leaving her heart frozen and broken. Why, she stutters this out with dryness in the throat. Why should I go back? The demon realm is already attacking us in the celestial realm. Why should I go back? This time the voice sounded commanding and not a request. Whatever fire she felt died in that second. Clenching her fist in frustration, Yun Ruashi closes her eyes in acceptance as the gradual memories of their first encounter resurfaces again. It was a fine day like any other in the past. At the time, he was spoiling another girl by carefully removing the peach blossoms from her hair, and the smile he made was oh so gentle like nothing else. Perhaps Chewy God would never know this, but since then Yun Ruashi had fallen for him due to that smile. It's like a drug to her to the point she could no longer extricate herself from him. But why? Why does his eyes only have her in his view and not me? Even if that woman is already dead, he still can't forget her. God. Slowly striding forward with pain in those eyes. She didn't want to make this difficult, but had to for her own sake. Is she not dead yet? The man didn't answer her, only floating in the sky silently with a face that couldn't be read. It's because she's alive that you won't let me go make trouble for the demons, isn't it? A borderline mad laugh escapes the woman now tear-stricken face, causing that beautiful contour to turn ugly and unsightly. Why do you treat me like so? I loved you for so many years and waited a millennium for you. Why are you so insistent on her? Is it because you knew her first? The outburst finally earned her a glance from Chewy God. However, those eyes weren't of comfort or warmth. It's a chilling gaze that made the woman freeze all over. Closing her eyes again, Yun Ruashi knew this was how it's going to be. But still, to be so inferior to the dead only made it that much worse. I understand then. I won't go making trouble for the demon realm anymore. But you should know the keepers won't stand down just because I'm stopping. Celestial Realms Faction 6. Looking upwards at the man's perennially emotionless face, Yun she found it to be such a pity. It's such a wonderful face, a face that she could never get enough of. Yet, it has never once smiled again since that woman died so long ago. Nor can she see the very first doting face that made her fall so madly in love with him. Good that you know what you can and can't do. Chewy God did not sugarcoat his words. Though it's not threatening or negative, it's neither kind nor warm, so there's a lot of room for interpretation. In this case, it only made the love-struck woman even more pained as she pierced those nails into her palm, due to the intense strength she used in that clenched ball of a hand. She's finding it extremely hard to hold her breathing in check, and that made it insufferable. Egod! She reached out in a vain attempt to grab at the man's sleeve. Unfortunately, it only took a warning glance from the individual to make her falter backwards. When are you coming back? Pursing her lip, that voice was mixed with a begging tone. When it's time, I will naturally go back. That said, this emotionless man whisks his sleeve, and departed without another word, leaving no traces of him ever coming or being here in the first place. Miss, the maid by the name of Xiao Qing timidly spoke from behind. Are we really going to give up on the demon realm? Despite her promise, Yin Ruashi's following answer was completely opposite of that. Give up? Why should I give up? The demon realm deserves to die. As long as it's something related to her, then they all deserve to die. Flashing a red glow in her eyes now, which was very different compared to her usual demeanor. We are going to that city of demons. I want to confirm with my own eyes if that woman really is dead or still alive. If she is alive, then I won't mind sending her back to the oblivion for a second time. No one is allowed to fight me for him, no one. Dragoni, we should be at the mentioned city once we pass this place. At this very moment in the dead of night, Bai Xiachen was still leading his companions through the darkness in this valley. It's then a slight rustling sound from up ahead caught the boy's ear. In his haste, he pulls the girl behind himself and got on alert. Who is it over there? As soon as he shouted that out, a snowy white figure dashed across their sight in an almost ghostly manner, causing the two kids to freak out inwardly. However, the crazy old coot on the other hand did the polar opposite, and launched himself into a mad chase. Good granddaughter, are you my good granddaughter? Don't run, good granddaughter. Seeing how their companion just left them behind without understanding the danger this involved, the little steambun knew he couldn't just stand there. Pulling Dragoni with his hand, they chased as well in order to stop him. Grandpapa, you wait for us. As a result of this sudden twist in event, a game of tag and mouse soon ensued within this valley in the dead of night. One floating white figure in the front, a crazy old coot chasing from behind, that's followed by two kids who kept crying out for him to stop. Eventually, all things must come to a stop though. The first in this case would be the old coot who ran out of breath as he gasped for air, while clinging onto a tree. Why, good granddaughter, why don't you want to see me? Grandpapa, how do you know she's your little bye-bye? Bai Xiachen finally caught up as well with his stepsister. Hard of breath, he asks with a huffy voice. You're too dumb. My little bye-bye likes to wear white. That means she must be my bye-bye. The old coot angrily stomps at the ground in frustration, due to his inability to catch his granddaughter. Celestial Realms Faction 7. Twitching his mouth out of reflex due to that ridiculous answer, Bai Xiachen almost wanted to scream. But grandpapa, that bad woman from yesterday is also wearing a white dress. It's not the same. Even if that bitch turns to ash, I will still recognize her. The old coot kept grinding his teeth when speaking. It's clear the grudge he held for Yun Rua, she has seeped straight into his bones, and would never be forgotten. Email protected. From out of the blue before anyone knew what's happening, a looped rope just dropped down from the tree where the old coot was leaning against, and locked him into a tie. Now the poor senior was hanging upside in a bind with a clueless face at what has happened. Who's attacking me? Let me down now. I still need to go chase my bye-bye. Just as the old coot was trying to break free, a voice interrupts him from the rear. I'm afraid you won't have the opportunity to go after your good old granddaughter anymore. Coming out of hiding was Yun Ruashi in person, her smile full of ridicule and mocking flavor when looking at her hated foe. Weren't you all about beating me before? Where's your attitude now? Alright, don't try to struggle. I stole the rope directly from the shrine altar of the Celestial Palace. It can subdue even someone of your level with ease. The altar was rarely visited by anyone, so she's very confident no one would discover the rope's disappearance until a much later date. If Yun Ruo she had to lament on anything, it would be her wasting the precious treasure on the crazy old coot, when she had intended to use it on the Demon King. What are you planning to do? Bai Xiaqin's expression turned a darker note. And the white woman just now, was that one of your people? Almost showing a mad snarl at this point, the wretched woman did not hesitate to admit to the fact. Brat, just because you bunch managed to catch me in the public yesterday, doesn't mean it will turn out the same tonight. No one is going to be able to save you. Though the person herself doesn't realizes it yet. But the face Yun Ruo she made was borderline insane. Those eyes were wide with madness, and that grin predatory, like she's going to tear into them. As a result, Dragoni instinctively hid behind the boy for cover, and didn't want to come out of hiding. Let old grandpapa down. I'll let you do as you please with me. The little steambun offers, understanding there's no one else here to take charge unless he does. Haha. Cackling like she's heard some hilarious joke, the woman stares down at the brave kid with contempt. Let him down. This old thing has been making trouble for me for years. And yesterday he dared to humiliate me before the public. Yet you still expect me to let him go? Showing a derisive smirk. And you shouldn't be worrying about others when you can't even secure your own safety. The last comment finally made the little steambun's heart sink, deliberately lowering his voice into a hushed tone, so it could only be heard by the little missy. Dragoni, I'm going to toss you out of here in a bit. You go to the city and find mother and baddie father for help. Gidge big brother. Dragoni tightly clenched the boy's hand after hearing that, those eyes full of worry. Don't hesitate. There are only 100 miles left before the demon city. At your speed you should be able to reach it in no time. Only by finding baddie father can you save us here. Despite her unwillingness to leave, Dragoni purses her lip and nodded in the end, knowing full well he's right, and there's no other choice. Bai Xiaqin's injured. Mother. Dragoni's complexion had gone white due to her own urgency. There is a bad woman trying to kill Gidge big brother. Please go save him. Bai Yin nearly lost her footing once she heard that outcry. Grabbing the girl's shoulder, there's an unmistakable fear in her trembling voice. Where's Xiaqin? Where is he? Mother, I'll fly you to Gidge's location. Please get on my back. Unable to afford any time to explain, the little missy transforms back to her dragon form and crouched down so her godmother could get on with ease. Queen! The guards were now also growing extremely troubled after realizing what they're doing. Running over to plead. His Majesty said it's too dangerous out there right now. Please stay here and let us go instead. Stern and unyielding. Tell Deet Song I'll be back very soon. Dragoni go. Okay. Not wasting another second. Dragoni's body zipped through the sky like a lightning bolt, leaving only a trail light of her ever being there in the first place. This. One of the guards choked out his worry. Should we go inform the king? But the king is in battle with those people right now. I fear His Majesty won't be able to separate himself from the fight. We better wait until he returns and then report this. Another demon guard says after weighing their choices. Unlike some of the others out there, these demons are the ones that have only recently came out of the secret domain, so they are very much unaware of Deet Song's love for Bai Yen. It's not just pampering, it's mad love. So, though not intentional, they've pretty much dug their own grave for not reporting the queen's departure. At the front of the city gate, hordes of demons are now standing at ready against the enemy that has come to attack their den. Demon King Deet Song. Crying out this was a middle-aged man in opposition to the defenders, his smile mocking and derisive. Don't you know whose property this stretch of land is? How dare you animals come to the celestial realm? Who gave you such courage? So far I still haven't given my queen her bride's gift. That, none of the monarchs could comprehend that reply. It was not easy for my queen to fancy a place. Since she wants something now, It's only right I lay down my claim to give her. Though mild and light in his tone, Song's words were ridiculously effective to the point where it's making waves among those who's heard it. Then again, who could blame these monarchs for reacting so strongly? They've theorized thousands of possibilities for this invasion. Ambition? Desire for power? Greed? But now it's nothing but a desire to flatter his wife with a bride's gift? What the hell? What sort of reasoning was that? Ha ha ha. The middle-aged man breaks out into a wild laugh, his voice ringing out like a bell in this night. Do you think you can subdue the celestial realm with only your strength? How ridiculous. I will show you today that this world is not something you can touch with your filthy hands. By Xiaqin's injured too. The middle-aged man moved after saying that, and he's fast. However, right as his eagle-like claws of a hand were able to reach Song's face to tear off that skin, the demon king in front suddenly disappeared without a trace, and were lost to his eyes. Shocked, he searched for his target in a frantic scan of the front. Then that's when the cold hard voice drifted over from his rear. Bang! With a muffled sound of a heavy thud, he stumbles forward in the air and swore inside at his own carelessness. You're a high divine? He asks after collecting himself from the blow, those eyes shocked and alarmed. Isn't the demon realm already weakened beyond compare? Why is this man still able to break into the high divine level? Qin Yuan, quit wasting words with this demon and finish him off. I refuse to believe with all of us attacking, at once he can still block us off. Coming out among the assaulting group was a woman. Though beautiful in appearance, the disgust on that face towards the demon king was unabashed and forward. The man may look handsome, but he's a demon and I hate demons. That's the signal for these monarchs to move. They rose from their station posts and took to the air in an encircling position, followed closely by their respective forces from behind in terms of numbers. The demon realm had thousands here tonight, while the celestial realm brought over tens of thousands more. A sizable difference in quantity. Sire, First Elder's expression had furrowed into a frown. Me and the other demons will handle those below the high divine level. Your Majesty can be assured no one will bother your battle with the others. Song didn't utter a word in response to the elder's promise. Instead his gaze turned back to the city where his wife should be. For some unknown reason, he's feeling very uncomfortable inside, like something bad was going to happen. Make this fast. His tone cool and unreadable. That's right, he's going to make this battle come to an end as quickly as possible, because he wants to return to his wife's side. Only there would he feel at ease. As you wish, sire. Back over in the opposite end, Dragoni was zooming through the night sky at max speed right now. The little Missy's very afraid, fearing even a second of delay would cause Bai Xiaqin and the old grandpapa to lose their lives. Dragoni, how far is the place? It felt like someone's ripping at her heart, so Bai Yan's voice was full of worry when asking. It's just up ahead, mother. We'll be there real quick. The Missy's practically sobbing now, so it was not easy to make out her words. At the same time, back over in the valley, Bai Xiaqin's bloodthirsty existence continues to draw closer to the venomous bitch that wanted his life tonight. You deserve to die. Towards this huge change in the boy's attitude, the crazy old coot also changed. He's no longer showing the dumb grin like usual. It's focused and deep. Bai Xiaqin's injured 3, swish. Bai Xiaqin's swinging punch sets off an audible gush of wind when trying to hit its target. Yun Ruo, she naturally felt threatened when it shot straight for her head. So, she ducked in a frantic attempt to dodge. When done, what followed was a huge rumble of an explosion from the rear, due to the boulder behind blowing apart from the impact and shattering into hundreds of pieces. Boy, if you got the ability, then follow me. Her expression soon calmed down again after confirming her initial suspicion. Without hesitation, she turns and ran deeper into the forested valley with the boy giving chase from the back. During the entire process, Bai Xiaqin had never once relented in his attacks. He pounded away with his little fist and wreaked havoc to the greenery. Some were the direct result of his punches making contact with the ground, thus leaving a crater in its wake. The others were the indirect result of the blast of wind, coming out of his swing, that left destruction ahead like the boulder from the first punch. However, due to Yun Roshi's speed being so much faster, and her cunning evasive maneuvers, none of the attacks were able to make contact. This little thing, where the hell did this monster come from? Gnashing her teeth, Yun Ruoshi could say for certain this brat and herself had some sort of great grudge in the previous life. Not long after the three left the premise from the initial clash, one kid attacking the woman, and the old coot jumping in chase while being bound, a dragon soon appeared from the sky and descended with haste. Gidge, big brother, was here with that nasty woman. Where did they all go? Bai Yen didn't need any more information, and stretched her senses out right away after hearing the girl's confused comment. A second later, she opens her eyes again with clarity in them. They should be in that direction, Dragoni. Let's chase. No matter who it is. If they dare to touch my son, then they will pay with an ending far worse than death. Okay. Wasting no time at all, Dragoni immediately flew in the directed place referred to by Bai Yen. At the deepest part of the valley. Bang! This time Bai Xiaoqin's palm had landed directly onto Yun Ruoshi's shoulder when she stopped to do something, thus causing an incredible amount of pain to shoot through her veins in that instant, and sending her several meters away. Spewing out blood from the mouth, the woman's complexion had turned ghostly white with fear upon realizing she's been caught despite her careful planning of luring the boy here. She was so close. Boom. However, right as she thought she would be getting a real hit at being cornered, Yun Ruoshi's amulet abruptly exploded with light, shrouding her entire body with a protective barrier and repelling the little steambun's hit. What's going on here? A look of fluster filled the woman's eye. She's happy to be saved by the sudden intervention, of course, but she's also very nervous at what this meant, because the amulet has never once reacted while in her possession aside from once in the past. That one time, it's only due to that woman dripping a droplet of blood to unleash its power. Bai Xiaoqin's injured for. Closing her eyes, a peerless face of a woman appears within Yun Ruoshi's memory. Aside from her, this brat is the only other person capable of getting a response from the moon amulet. For that alone I can't let him live. Under the effects of the glowing white light, Bai Xiaoqin's expressionless face gradually devolved into painful outcry. Crouching down, he roars out with both hands holding his little head. You get out, you get lost. Yun Ruoshi just stared at him in shock. What is he going on about? Does he think I don't want to run? He's the one who chased after me. Curling into a clump on the grassy dirty. The little steambun's body kept shaking and trembling like he's struggling with something from within. It's excruciatingly painful, and tearing him up both physically and mentally. Batty father clearly sealed you inside of me. Why are you coming out again? You get lost, you get out of me. I'm going to protect mother on my own. You leave right now. You will hurt mother. You monster, you monster. You get lost. Yun Ruoshi didn't even know what's going on anymore. However, whatever the kid was going through didn't change the situation. Upon realizing this was the opportunity she needed to carry out the remainder of her plan, she did it and slowly paced backwards for a specific boulder that's etched into the hill. Reaching out with her palm, she gently pressed down at a certain indentation. Click. Next second later, the earth around the entire valley started to shake, and a huge chunk of the earth in front of herself began to sink in like something was devouring the ground from beneath. Knowing she succeeded, an indescribable glee overtakes the woman, and turned her eyes into mad crazed red. This trap was something she discovered by accident many years ago, during the turbulent times of her life. Back then some powerful enemies wanted to kill her, and pursued her up to this point. Cornered and without help, the younger Yun Ruoshi clung onto this specific rock with her back, and begged for mercy. She was honestly lost for hope back then. A weak young girl against multiple powerful individuals, that has her cornered like a rat. What else was she supposed to do? But then that's when she accidentally hit the indentation on this rock, and activated the trap. She murdered those people with this stroke of luck. Now just like back then, she's going to murder this brat tonight as well. Xiaoqin, be careful. Right as the ground beneath the boy is about to cave in and allow the bottomless pit to devour his existence, a loud screaming noise cuts in from above. Next thing Bai Xiachen knew was a long elegant hand reaching over and pulling him into a protective hug. With Bai Yan's strength, flying away here should have been a breeze for her in this case. However, she doesn't know why either, but there's a powerful attracting force from this trap that made it impossible to get away from. In the end, she and her son were sucked into there, like it's some sort of black hole beneath their feet. At the same time, Dragoni had also landed on the ground after coming late. When she saw her immediate family were gone, the little missy hesitated at nothing and jumped in of her own volition. Half a ring later, the ground in this valley returns to normal, and the bottomless pit that was here just moments ago were completely gone as well. It's as if the strange black hole never existed in the first place. Of course, that's not true at all because Yun Ruoshi was still standing here to show it had all taken place. And right now, this treacherous bitch has had her entire back drenched in cold hard sweat, due to the brief momentary eye contact she made with Bai Yan during her sudden intrusion. Those sharp overbearing eyes, the strong and courageous attitude, it's just like the image from all those years ago. There's no mistaking it in Yun Ruoshi's mind, she's back. Furthermore, the crescent-shaped amulet around her neck was burning hot, right now till it's making a sizzling sound around her skin. How can it be? How can she be alive? I saw it with my own eyes when her soul got destroyed. An ominous shudder rocked the bitch's heart. Bai Xiachen's injured 5. Slightly closing her eyes, pain and sorrow took over Yun Ruoshi's face. No wonder the demon realm is making a comeback. No wonder God is helping the demon realm. Turns out it's because of that fucking woman. She isn't dead. Is she coming back to take what's hers in the past? Is she here to take what I stole? While the wretched bitch was lost in her own spiraling thoughts, the amulet on the other hand could care less, and grew hotter, like it's never done before. Finding this painful now, Yun Ruoshi rips the darn thing off her neck with the hand and glares at the item, with her blazing eyes of rage. What? You want to leave me as well as soon as she's back? Don't forget you're mine now. That woman only got you due to luck. But you're mine, and that won't change no matter what. Bzz, the amulet's vibration intensified like some form of retaliation, which in kind made the woman irater than ever. How are you any different from Chewy God? Damn you all. This world can only belong to me, Yun Ruoshi. You belong to me. And Chewy God will also belong to me. Yes, that woman is dead. Even if before she was lucky enough to save her own soul somehow. I will make sure she's destroyed for good this time around. Bye-bye, my little bye-bye. The crazy old coot finally manages to catch up in his tied-up manner. I clearly saw my little bye-bye here not long ago. Where did you take her? All confused and lost on his face, the old coot asks the only person he could find. But then, his confusion quickly changed to complete anger when focusing in on the woman. In kind, Yun Ruoshi taunts back with a snarling sneer. That slut by you never should have come into this world. Heck, I'm not afraid to tell you the truth either. Just now I did see her here. And what a pity, you came a minute too late. You will never see her again. Furrowing that old brow in inexplicable confusion. But why? Why can't I see my little bye-bye anymore? Because just now she has died. Because just now she has died. Those words echoed within the old coot's head like a ringing bell, causing his body to freeze up like ice. No, that can't be true. My good granddaughter is good and obedient. She said she will stay with me as I grow old, and will inherit my skills. She promised. My good granddaughter never lies, so it must be you who's lying to me. Boom. Who knows where the old coot managed to summon up the strength, but when he flexed his arms in that moment, one of the knots keeping him subdued instantly snapped. Terrified by the sudden change in power, Yun Ruoshi mutters to herself in disbelief. How can it be? This lasso rope is made of a material that can subdue one's soul. How can this crazy old coot make a part of it snap when his powers are sealed? Liars, you are all liars. I won't allow any of you to say my granddaughter is dead. Whoever say my granddaughter is dead deserves to die. I won't let anyone lie to me. Not good. Seeing the mad old coot was about to completely break free and go on a rampage, Yun Ruoshi hurried to crawl away from the spot and fled for the bottom of the valley. She didn't want to spend another minute in this mess after getting what she wanted. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.